Okay, perfect. So welcome each and every one of you. Do we have Barbara here? So I'm here with Barbara,
Yes, sir.
one of our instructors also at Kiawitech. She's a database administrator. You all met her during orientation. I'm just gonna give you all a quick information about myself so you know who you're dealing with. Like most of you, I know most of your faces. I must have spoken with one of you in one way or the other. I'm a database administrator. I took this program here at Kiawitech, but I've been in the IT field for over 10 years, starting back in Cameroon. I used to work for the Cameroon Cooperative Credit Union League as an IT assistant over there. So I have been actual database administrator for over 2 years, and I took this program here at Kiawitech. So I'm just replicating and giving back to you what I have learned, what I learned when I was a student, and my practical experience as a database administrator. I am that person who is very pushful. When I want to get something, I go for it aggressively. And I've noticed that at the end of it, I always get what I want because I'm aggressive. If I want to study something, I put my mind there. I say I have to do this in 6 months. I'm not distracted, right? I'm focused until I get that. And that is the same spirit I want you all to follow. If you have decided that within these 6 months, you have to complete this program, that should be your main focus. I know other things might come to distract you, but your main focus should be to complete this program and understand the responsibilities of a database administrator. I always tell students that, or trainees, your main focus now should not be a job. You should start thinking of a job the 4th month into this class. Your main focus these first 4 months is to understand exactly what is expected of you and how to do it. Once you have that in your mind, then you will be okay in getting the job, right? Yes, so you will focus on understanding the material. Focus on understanding the material. Let's keep the job, the money apart right now. Our goal is to teach you the hands-on experience. The way I teach is I'm a hands-on person. At times, I like to explain. I like to break things down in such a way that you will understand. And I get not like frustrated, but I get so concerned when the material that I present to students is not being understood. So I always try to go over everything again, everything. I organize special classes. If you're used to me, you have issues, reach out to me. I will sacrifice time to help you. That is just the kind of person that I am. I will give Barbara a few minutes to tell us about herself. I don't know if she was in your first class.
Barbara, yes, I was in the first class.
Oh, okay. So she probably already introduced herself to you all. And Dr. Dennis was the one who took your first class. So before I start, I want to get a review. Can somebody give me an overview of what you all did in the first class? Anybody?
Yeah, we did chapter 2. That was a SQL Server overview. There we talked about the versions of, we define what SQL Server is, its advantages. We look at the various editions of SQL Server, as well as the editions. We talk on the instances and the various components of SQL Server. Yeah, I think that's basically what we did.
Quick question, what's the difference between edition and a version of SQL Server?
Edition is the standard.
Is that to me?
No, anybody. That's a general question.
Okay.
Which version of the SQL Server comes in the various editions? That is the Enterprise Standard, Developer, and what's the other one? And Express.
All right. And what is the difference between that edition and the version? So just in summary, like the editions are differentiated by the capabilities, what this particular edition can do. It's just like you having a Microsoft Word 2000 and just a Microsoft Word, right? And you have 2007 and you have Microsoft Word 2008, right? That is how you try to differentiate them. So with the various editions of SQL, like you talked about the Enterprise, the Standard, the Express. Express generally is a free edition that everybody can download it and install it. But when you start going detailedly, now you see that there are some functionalities that are in the Express edition that are not in the Standard edition. There are some functionalities that are in the Standard edition that are not in the Enterprise edition. So your responsibility as a database administrator, one, is to know most of those things so that when you are recommending SQL Server in a company of a particular project or a particular application, you should know what you are recommending. If you need, for instance, if you need a SQL Server instance, that you'll be able to automate tasks, create jobs, create maintenance plans and stuff like that, you know that the free edition will not have those functionalities, right? So you will not recommend that in your company with those limitations. That is why you need to read most of these things. But as time is going on, you will understand them gradually. The second thing, this is just a revision. When you talk now of the versions of SQL Server, it goes now with the year. When was this edition, when was it built, right? Or when was it developed? You have like SQL Server Enterprise Edition. It's been out there for so long. But now Microsoft says you have Enterprise Edition with the version 2008. You have Enterprise Edition with the version that was developed in 2012. You have an Enterprise Edition, but this Enterprise Edition version is 2016 and 2019. So the versions now are just the years when they were being developed. And it comes with different functionalities. Like 2008, anything with SQL Server that was developed in 2008, Microsoft does not support SQL Server 2008 any longer because they have a 10 years policy for their product that they develop. They only support it within that 10 years time frame. So if you had SQL Server 2008 Enterprise Edition and you have issues, Microsoft will tell you, we recommend you upgrade these to 2016 or 2017 or 2019, right? So that is where the issue of editions and versions, they come in. Just do some more reading on that, but you are not expected to know all of that now. As time goes on, when we install SQL with the various features that are in there, you'll be able to understand. So that was just to give you a recap of what you all talked about in the last class. We're gonna touch some of those things today as we move on. So just let me know if I'm going too fast. You know, I still need time to understand like your learning speed and stuff like that. So just let me know if there is anything I'm doing within these first weeks that it could be done better. I'll be more than happy to look at that with you all. So what are we gonna be doing today? What are we going to be doing today? Today we shall have an overview of your responsibilities, right, as a database administrator. It is good that you're getting into this program. You need to have a clear understanding of what is expected of you, because if you don't have that understanding, you will not know where to base your time. You will not know where to base your resources. So it is good you have a clear understanding, and I'll give you practical scenarios where database administrators do fit in for you to start looking into the future. Okay, these are the things that I am going to be doing. Then you work towards that direction. So we're going to look detailedly into that. So at the end of today's class, I expect you all to have an understanding of the IT department, right? Because a database administrator, you don't work in isolation. You work with other departments. You work with other team players. So having this understanding, it will help you also to be doing your research. Like if I tell you what is a system administrator, what does a system admin does? All of these things, you need to know as a DBA, where do I fit in? When is gonna be the time where I will need to interact with this particular system admin, this security guy and stuff like that. I went through your registration form and I see a lot of you here already IT, you're already in the IT field, which is good. So the understanding of this process, of this program is gonna be really easy for you, right? And I wanna say, I am not an expert, I'm not an IT expert, but I can assure you that more than 80% of your questions that you ask in this class, I will attempt and answer to the best of my knowledge. And a question that I will not know, it will be a research topic for me to go do research and come and tell you. I will not tell you I'm going to answer 100% of all your questions. But as of now, I can tell you when it comes to the database administration part, you ask me, I will have you an answer, or it will take me a very less time to give you a complete answer on that. So we're going to look at the IT department in general. We're going to understand your responsibility as a database administrator. We're going to understand the daily task, what is expected of you as a database administrator. And then we'll do an overview of SQL Server and SQL best practices. We will go as far as I'm going to run an installation of SQL in this class, but today is just for you all to watch. And then we're going to give you documentation to read. Then next class is going to be a hands-on for you all to install SQL while we're in class. The first installation that I would do is just install and I explain to you. So it will not be good if I'm installing and you all are also trying to install. And also we have not sent you the material. So we're going to send you the material before the next class. Next class is going to be SQL installation following all the best practices. So after today's class, you make a summary of all what has been taught. You take it home, do research, and then next class is hands-on all the way, right? Any questions? All right, just making sure I'm recording. Does it look like I am?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So this is just a picture of the internet. I give credit to whosoever got that out there. But this is an overview. When you are in the IT field, right, you belong in one of these areas. It might be missing one or two. It might be missing one or two, but this is where you belong. Normally, a company, you always have your CEO. Then below, when it comes to IT now, you have IT directors. You can have IT director, IT manager. So there might be directors in each area. Database administrator, you can have hardware, you can have security, all of these things. So all of these ones are managers. Where do you fit in as a database administrator? You fit in below an IT manager, right? So when we look at a database administrator span now, here you can be a junior database administrator. I'll do this. You can be a junior database administrator, as well as you can be a senior database administrator. We're going to look at all of those. But at the end of the day, you all do the same thing, right? This is actually where we fit in as database administrators. Reporting to either IT manager or a DBA manager. You can have a database administrator manager in your company, or you can have a team lead. You can have a team lead over here, right? Which is DBA team lead. At the end of it, this is where DBAs do fit in. Okay, looking at this, you can see from this side, this might be a change management team. This might be security. This is a security expert. You might have project managers that are here. You have system analysts. You have IT operations support, like your help desk, level 2 support, all of those things. Most of you, you might have been here or one or the other. This is where I was. I used to be IT operations support, like help desk, you're supporting callers, you are supporting users. For instance, as a database administrator, right here, you understand that you don't have all the responsibilities. At times, somebody who is a help desk analyst here is the only person who have access to reset your Windows computer. So there is always going to be that communication between you and this person. You don't undermine this person because you are just a help desk person. You don't know, you don't know up to what I know. Because in a company, your permissions are given to you based on your level of responsibility, right? So this is where you fit in. How are you going to interact with other departments? That is my focus, where I want us to pay attention to today, right? As a database administrator, one of your responsibilities, the basic ones, is going to be to install SQL Server, right? When you are installing SQL Server, what happens? When you're installing SQL Server, you don't just get it from the air, right? When you're installing SQL Server, let's say we have a project today to install SQL Server. The first thing that we're going to look at is this SQL Server is going to be on a Windows computer, right? It's going to run on a computer. Who manages that? You might have system admins. System administrators, they manage the creation of new computers. If you require a new virtual machine as a database administrator, you reach out to your system admin, you send in a request ticket, I need this new computer in order to install this SQL server, right? Secondly, once you do that, this SQL server needs to be in a particular network. You now need to interact with your network team, your networking team. Okay, this server like this, I want it to be in this particular network because it is in this network that this server will communicate with these others. So that is how you as a DBA, you interact with your network team, right? Now, going to your security team in a company, a security team, they make sure that what comes in and out of that company is secured as far as that data is concerned, all of those things, right? Looking at firewall settings and all of that stuff. So as a database administrator, you know that SQL runs on port 1433. So the security team needs to enable that port for communication to come in and go out. So you test, if it is the default instance, most of the time, port 433 is already open. But if you have a name instance, now you set up a port for that SQL server to communicate. You're gonna see all of these once we install SQL and we are talking about configuration changes. Once you need this port to be open, let's say I want SQL to listen to port 54985, right? I need to make sure that I communicate with my security team, to enable this port in the system, right? You need to enable this port over the network to be able to communicate there. So this is some of the areas that you as a database administrator, you need to interact with other people. Most importantly, now you interact with users, right? Who are those using the databases? A user will call you and say, hey, I am not able to log into this instance of SQL Server, right? You need to troubleshoot and address that user's need. It might be that the user's password is locked, the user is not using the right account to log into that instance of SQL Server, or the SQL Server instance is completely down. So there is this communication between you and the users, and it can either be over a phone or by email. For the most part, communication between you as a DPA and your other team members is over email. So you need to also have some sort of communication skills to be able to write some kind of convincing, I'm not saying politics, but you need to be able to express yourself in such a way that know that, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. Shout out to all our English teachers. I remember during orientation, we had an English teacher in class. So you are a step ahead, okay? All right, so this is just to tell you that as a database administrator, your responsibility, communication is one of the key things. And you cannot communicate if you don't know what you are doing. And that is why I want to base our attention in this class hands-on and letting you know exactly what you do, right? Any questions as far as this is concerned? I know we have security guys in the house, we have system administrators, we have a lot of these people. Any question? If you want to say something, unmute yourself.
What port number was that again? I saw a phone number you were trying. I thought it was 14324.
Sorry, the line is we can't hear you. I don't know if it's me. Can anybody hear him or her?
No.
Okay. Let's get that question again.
He's surely asking about the port ID for the server.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I was saying when I look at your screen, you wrote something like 54 something. I thought the port for SQL Server is 1433.
Yes, so I said by default, when you have a default instance of SQL Server, the port is 1433. That is a default, we shall talk about that.
Right,
but
okay.
If you install now a name instance is not going to use that 1433. You might want to use a different port number. At that point, you need to ensure that that port number is also enabled over the network, right? That is where you communicate now with your security guys. Hey, I'm trying to, this SQL is going to listen to this port. Can you troubleshoot, make sure this port is open and stuff like that? So it's not as if every SQL will listen to 1433. Default instances, yeah, but name instances, they have different things. And we're going to talk about that in the course of the class. Okay. So next to that, any other question before we move on? All right.
Hey, Brian.
Yes, Stefan, you saying something?
Yeah, I have just a question. Are we going to design the database in this class or is this different class?
Yes, so your question is going to be answered in my next slide, but short answer is yes, we're going to do it, right?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we're going to do it. So the next thing that we're going to look at,
Brian,
yes.
question. So so with these name instances, is there like is it already, is there like a bank that has all these port numbers that we get it from, or it's something that we create as you create the name instance?
Okay, so that is going to come under post installation changes. Some of the things that you need to change when you install SQL Server. We're gonna show you all of this. By default, when you install a name instance of SQL, there is a dynamic port that SQL tells you, okay, you can use this dynamic port. For the most part, you just need to copy that port and make it a static port. Then you make sure that it is open over the network, right? So we're gonna look into all of those when we are talking about post configuration changes. You'll see if you need to create it or it is already there or what you need to do. All right. So you all talked about the difference between a name and a default instance in the last class, right? Please mute yourself. I'm gonna make someone a Barbara, please let me make you a co-host so you can mute. You can.
Okay.
You can see that you can mute them. And if you joined some few minutes later, I was saying that we have heard a lot of interesting discussions in this class, right? It is your responsibility to mute yourself, especially when you have a wife at home, you have a kid at home, you have friends at home, or you are on the phone. We have heard some interesting conversations that we would not really like to be hearing. So by default, you should be muted. Only unmute yourself when you want to say something to avoid getting into any of this, right? So just understand your background and pick where you wanna be. By default, mute yourself. All right, beautiful. So the next thing we're gonna be looking at is responsibilities of a database administrator, right? So a lot of you, when you watch the YouTube video and the video in Udemy, you're like, man, am I gonna be doing this? Am I gonna be doing that? Am I gonna be doing that? So database administrators, you have different roles that you play. Where you fit in, right, tells you, okay, this is the role that you're going to play. If you look at my screen here, we have administrative DBAs. This is by the end of this class, you'll be able to do everything 100% over an administrative DBA, right? That is like a database administrator. Within that concept of database administration, you have other things there that not everybody can do. You have to pick where you belong and go with it, right? So as an administrative database administrator, what do you do, right? You work on maintaining the server and keeping it running, right? Concerns with backups, security, patching, replication, and setting up always on availabilities and disaster recovery. That is what you do as an administrative database administrator, right? I always like to take this back to your phone. When you look at this, you are concerned about your phone is up and running. You want to make sure that at any time if a call is coming into your phone, you can pick it. At any time a call is coming into your phone, you can see who is calling and stuff like that. That is administration. You are concerned about that. If your phone goes down, the first thing you do is you take it, you turn it on. Maybe you check, was the battery dead? You charge it. That is administration. As an administrative DBA, this is what you do. Ensure that the servers are up and running. And we are talking about servers now. We break this down. We break this in two parts, right? When you look at an environment, you have Windows Server, and on this Windows Server, you have what is called now an instance of SQL Server that is installed. So it is not just your responsibility, right? We have Windows Server, which is the operating system. I'm going to call it OS. Then we have SQL, right? Which is the instance of SQL Server that we have installed. Who takes care of this operating system, which is the Windows Server? Let me say we have Windows Server 2019, and we have SQL Server 2019 installed as well. So it is a joint responsibility. It is not just you. As long as a database administrator is responsible in administering this database, making sure that this SQL server is up and running, but know that this SQL server is running also on the Windows operating system. What happens if this Windows operating system goes down? If this Windows operating system goes down, what happens, right? What will happen? At that point, your SQL server, regardless, it will not run. So, but the good thing is at the end of this class, we shall show you means. At the end of this class, you shall be living with and understanding managing the Windows operating system itself and understanding managing your SQL Server instances. When we say your responsibility is to keep the server up and running, we are talking about your SQL Server. But now you need to be able to monitor both your SQL Server and the Windows Server because SQL is installed on Windows. And if Windows is down, SQL is down, right? You're going to install Windows operating systems in this class, and you're going to install SQL Server on them. People always get confused between the server. When you say, make sure the server is up and running, what are we talking about? I want you to understand that there is a server at the Windows level, and SQL, this is SQL Server, right? That instance itself is an instance of SQL Server that has been installed. So do not get confused between these two. If somebody tell you, is the server up and running, you should ask clarifying questions. Is it the OS, the operating Windows, or the operating system, or the SQL Server itself that is up and running? Because Windows, the OS here might be up and running, but SQL Server is not up and running. The SQL Server service might be shut down and stuff like that. So just, my goal here is for you to understand these two things, the OS, that's the operating system, Windows Server operating system, and SQL Server. So looking at Windows Server operating system, we have talked about the Windows Server operating system, Windows Server OS. We also, within the Windows Server, out of operating systems, right? You also have Linux. It's an operating system. You have, what other operating system do we have out there? This Apple, any Apple people in the house, is it ISO, or how you call it, or Mac, right? You have Mac operating system. So all of these are operating systems, right? All of these ones, they're operating systems.
The Mac OS.
Yeah, Mac OS. So you have Mac OS, you have Linux operating system. So all of these, yes, we have all of these. So now, this is on the server side. Make sure the server is up and running. Can you install SQL on Linux? Yeah, it is possible to install SQL on Linux, but you just need to, the configurations are different. But for the most part, in corporate world, you will not see SQL Server installed on Linux. You will see SQL Server installed on a Windows Server operating system, right? Just bear in mind. So these are the operating systems that we are looking at. So next now we are talking about, let's talk a little bit about the database management system, right? We have talked about SQL Server. So apart from this SQL Server that we have been talking about in this class, right? What other relational database management systems do we have? We call these relational database management systems.
Oracle.
We call these operating system. So right here, we have talked of SQL Server, right? And on SQL, another relational database management system that we have there is Oracle. For the most part, Oracle runs on Linux, but Oracle can run on Windows very well. In my company, I have an Oracle instance that is running on Windows, right? So this is Oracle. Under Oracle, we also have MySQL. We have MariaDB.
Hello, sir.
We have Postgres.
Hello.
Yes.
IBM.
Yes, I have a quick question.
Yes.
You said when they called and said the Windows is not running, they have to specify which one is not running. Since I've seen that SQL Server is a subset of Windows, right? So is there a possibility that when your Windows server is not running, and my question is the SQL Server, will the SQL Server stop running because the Windows server is not running? Since the Windows, the SQL Server is a subset of the Windows.
Let me share back. One moment. address your question. Screen 2. Okay, so no, this is the thing, right? I want to practically look at your phone. Your phone, you have an Android phone, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, your phone is Android, and on that, that Android is the operating system of that phone, and the physical phone itself is the hardware. So practically, this is how it operates. We have bought a laptop. Let me call this one a laptop, right? And this laptop that we have is like your phone. It has a RAM, it has a monitor, it has a keyboard, it has everything, right? That is your phone. And this laptop, it has an option for you to power it off. You can power it off and power it on, right?
Yes.
Power off/on. That is your laptop or your phone right now. So within your phone, you have Android. You have the Android operating system on that phone, right? That is your Android operating system. On this, your Android operating system, what have you done on this operating system? You have installed WhatsApp. You have installed WhatsApp on your phone, right? So WhatsApp now is an application that is on your phone. And that application is on this Android operating system, and the operating system is being hosted by this hardware, which is that physical box. Going back to the database administration part or the database part, you have a server. You install a server. I'm gonna explain this. You install a server. This server is serving you. The operating system of that server is what is called Windows Server 2016. On this Windows Server 2016, which is the operating system, you have installed an application called SQL Server 2016. That is an application. So now, what is the overall, what is holding that operating system and what is holding that Windows Server? It is that hardware, right? That hardware, which in your case is your phone. If your phone goes off today, Mr. Stanford, let's say your phone completely is shut down, will anybody be able to access WhatsApp that you have installed? The answer is no.
No.
You will not be able to access WhatsApp, right? So if the computer that has SQL, if the Windows server goes down, then SQL will still be in there, but you cannot access it because to get to SQL, you need to go through the operating system. Then from the operating system, you access the applications that are installed.
Correct.
Right? So going back to this, when we talk of how do applications connect to a database, that this one should clarify your answer right now, right? You go to the internet. You go to the internet. We have Amazon. We have Amazon, right? Amazon has a database that is hosted on a server. Amazon has a database that is hosted on this server, right? So this is our database, the Amazon database. You go online. You log in here like 4 on your phone. Right? You put in an order here through the web because the web is like in the cloud. The interface to get to the database is in the cloud. So this application that you log into the cloud and place your order, what happens is it connects to this database, right? Before it gets to this database, what happens? This database is on a computer. Definitely on this computer, before this even gets in here to the database, it needs to pass, let's just call this one, right? It needs to pass through this computer, hit this, then before it gets to the database. So by the time your order is coming here from the website that you've pulled up and this Windows server that is hosting the database is down, what will happen? It will not even hit the database, right? So the database will not be available. That is how it works. I don't know if this answers your question. So if they call you that this server is not, I'm not able to access this database, the first thing that you need to do first, you will not access a database if the Windows server that is hosting that database is powered off. You check, can I get access to that computer in which the database is in? If I cannot get access to that computer by default, that is why you cannot access the database. Okay, if I can get past that computer, if I can get into that computer, then I will start seeing, okay, might be SQL services are off or something is happening. Right, so that is the process. We shall see all these troubleshooting steps as we move on. Any question?
Thank you, sir.
Perfect. All right. So let me take you back to this. We have the administrative DBA, right? You have seen where you belong. So now administrative DBAs will do what we call we're going to explain a little bit all of this as we move on, right? You do backups. You make sure that, okay, these databases are backed up. If something happens today, how can I recover this database? If something happens with your phone today, how do you recover your contacts? Let me say your phone is stolen, right? You just go to T-Mobile, you buy a new phone. How do you recover your contacts? I know for now, you should be having an account in Google where you back up your contacts from your phone, right? As an administrative DBA, you need to also implement a similar thing like that to be able to recover your databases if a disaster occurs. We shall tell you what a disaster is, possible type of disasters and stuff like that. We look at security, right? Because SQL Server is an application, it is possible that you have vulnerabilities, hackers can get in there. So you look at best practices in ensuring that that database is secure, right? Security also goes to creating users who should have access to this database. You have your phone. One of the security aspects of your phone, which is just like a server in our case, is who should have access to your contacts. I know for a fact some people, you have downloaded these apps that will hide pictures and some stuff on your phone, whereby if you even give your phone to somebody, they'll look at an app like that, will look like a calculator, but of which in that app there is something. So that is just a security mechanism that you have implemented on your phone. In SQL, you can do all of this as well. We'll look at creating logins, creating users, and all of that good stuff. Who should have access to the database? And that is when we are installing, we'll talk about authentication and authorization, right? So those are two things. We'll look about patching. When we talk of patching, is your Windows server and stuff like that. So these are some of the things that administrative DBAs do. You set up replication, always on availability groups, disaster recovery, and all of that. Will explain that to you. The next set of DBAs that you have out there are developers, right? If you read here, they work on building queries, store procedures, etc., right? That meets the business needs. This is the equivalent of a programmer. So you have database developers. When you see all of this code writing, create a store procedure that when somebody put in my name here, it should take your first name, join it with your last name, add your father's name there, and send this information to this person, right? That is a store procedure. They might get so complex. All of these programs that you see, there's a store procedure. When you go online, you place an order. How does that order match with your address? How does it tie to your credit card? So there's a store procedure in place that does that, and that is being done by developers. As a database administrator, right, you don't need to be a database developer. There are jobs out there, database developers. If you go to Google, you type it, you'll see it. You type in database administrators, you see. So these are different things, right? These are different things. So developers, they're the ones that really write those complex queries that you all might have seen. Do not get scared about it. Those are not difficult. If after this class, you want to go the developers route, it is very okay and it will be easy. By the time you finish this class, you'll be able to write basic store procedures, write basic select statements, be able to extract data from a database with basic select statements, right? So
I have a concern.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I have to take you back to the first point where you talked of the responsibilities of a DBA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Regarding you said one of the responsibilities was to configure and install the SQL Server. And yes, for that, you need to work with other teams like the security, the network teams, and the help desk and stuff like that. So I want to understand, how does it work and how long does it take? Because if you have to go through those routes, because I thought like if you have a ticket, the ticket comes with already all the indications, like if they need this amount of hard drive on the server, if they need this amount of RAM, if they need stuff like that, with all the recommendation and even the port numbers. So in case you're going to install a name instance. So how does the mechanism work, and how long does it take for those guys to, like, if you reach out to the security guy concerning the port number, you reach to the network guy concerning the availability of network, how does it work and how long does that take? Because yes, to summarize it, I thought like you just get a ticket with a description with what you have to do, and based on your permission, you just go ahead and do it. So I didn't know it was going to go through those routes for you to be able to work.
Perfect. That's a good question, and let me explain it. Let me explain it this way. So in everything that you do, there is what is called planning, right? when you have to install, even before that ticket comes down to install SQL, there is always a planning phase. Let's take practical example, right? We are now in Kiawitech. You all were required to buy a computer with 16 gigabyte of memory, right? How did it get to that? We sat and we said, okay, for you to be able to go through this program, we need to install 3 computers, right? We need to install 3 computers. So I'm talking about the planning step now. We need to install 3 computers. And on these 3 computers, this is the requirement that we need. So the planning now might involve us, the database administrators, those developing the application, the network team, and stuff like that. Practically, in my company, we are trying to migrate some databases from Postgres, which is Linux, right, to SQL Server. It starts with planning. In this planning, I am coming in as a database administrator. A networking guy is coming in. A Windows guy is coming in. We are saying, okay, we need to do this migration. At the end of the day, this migration will require SQL Server installation, but we don't just start at installing SQL Server. So we'll come in a planning meeting. We say, okay, we need this migration to take place. We need SQL to be installed. What do we need? The first thing is, okay, let us check. This current server has 50 gigabyte of RAM, right? System admin team, please, you guys should build a server with 50 gigabyte of RAM. The DBA team, I think this database is too big, and the size of these disks, what do you think will accommodate the database in the next 5 years? You do your capacity planning as a database administrator and say, okay, because this database now is 5 gigabyte, and I foresee that in the next 3 years, it's going to be 15 gigabyte, let this hard drive be this. That is your planning part. You have done your planning, you have given it to those guys. And those guys will build a server now based on those recommendations. Once they build this server, they tell that, okay, this server is completed. The person now in charge, who is managing that project, says that, okay, create a ticket, we need SQL Server installed on this. You already have those requirements that were gathered during the planning meeting. And you just go ahead and you execute, right? In another way, some companies already have some predefined templates that they say, okay, when we need a new server to host SQL, this is what happens. The template is already there. They just deploy. The network guy or the system admin guy just go ahead, install that server with that. The next thing, the ticket is escalated to the network guy. They assign it to an IP address. It goes to the Active Directory guy. They put in Active Directory. Then it comes now to you, the DBA. You just go ahead and you install your SQL. So it's not like you're going to sit today, say, today, let's just talk about the port. What is going to be the port? You sit with the network guy, with the security guys, they talk, you come back and you sit. Tomorrow, let's talk about the hard drive. What is going to be the hard drive? We do this. So it's a planning process. Everything is a project. Everything is a project. So if it's a project to install SQL on 20 computers, you start with the planning. And that planning, you define what you want that server to look like, how many, because you need to also talk about, okay, am I installing a default or a name instance? You who asked the question, I don't know, I didn't catch your name, right? If I just send you a ticket today that I need an instance of SQL Server installed,
Romeo.
If I just send you a ticket today, I need a SQL Server install. Are you just going to start installing? Will you have some questions to ask me? Yes, definitely. What is this SQL Server going to be for? What is the size of the database you envisage that is going to run on this SQL Server? What is going to be? I'm going to ask you a question. Do you want a name or a default instance, right? Or how many instances am I going to install on this server? So that planning process takes care of all of that. Then a simple ticket that will come, let me learn. A simple ticket that will come in for you as a DBA to do might just be, hey, I need login to this SQL server. I just go ahead and log in. I am not able to connect to this SQL server. I check connection. Connection is not working because your computer is not in the network. Please add your computer in the network. So, question.
Yeah, sorry, just an observation. Is this being recorded?
I think it is, right?
Yeah.
I might not see it on my end, but I think I did. Yeah.
It's been recorded.
It's been recorded.
Okay, thank you. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Question? Val, are you the one who asked that question? Are you clear on that?
It's recording.
All right, perfect. So that is how it's a planning process. And we're gonna look.
It is recording.
Perfect. Yeah, it's recording. So that is just a general concept, right? We're gonna go detail. We're gonna have projects that we need to install SQL. We see what we need to talk about.
So I was gonna say something about the last question.
Yes, go ahead. You are muted. I see somebody. Hello, Brian. Please, is it possible to ask people to type their questions and you answer them at the end of the class? Each idea, because this constant interruption after every single slide, it is okay. You know, this first class is just for you to get an understanding, right? Subsequently, we're gonna have a structure where questions are gonna be coming in. For now, after each slide, you can ask your question. It's just for you to understand. Subsequently, we're gonna be like, okay, questions will come in this time and this time. So thank you for that. So let me go back and talk about this, right? After this slide, I'm gonna, if you have questions, put them, just note them. After this, I'll give you a chance for that. The other thing that another database administrator who is not in charge of administration or development, you'll be a database architect, right? Who is a database architect? So a database architect, you design a schema, you build tables, you build all these foreign keys, primary keys, right? You work to build a structure that meets the business needs. When you are developing a database to host an application, it is it's a process, because you start by gathering information, and we shall see that in this class. For instance, just going out of the box, we shall be building a database for KiawiTech, right? So now we need to figure out, what is a database? A database is a collection of related information, right? That is a database. Okay, so how do you get this collection of related information and structure it to make sense? I start by, okay, KiawiTech, you all want us to build a database. What do you want this database to do, right? I say, okay, I want to track all the students, the instructors, the subjects that are being taught in KiawiTech, and the success rate, right? That is gathering information. That is the job of a database architect. So once you gather this information, now he sits and he'll be like, okay, this database is going to be a 3-table database. One table is going to host the names of students. The other table is going to host instructors. The other student is going to host the course that you teach in KiawiTech. So now I have all of this information. How do I relate this information, right? How do I relate this information? A student can have multiple instructors, or an instructor can teach multiple classes and stuff like that. That is what a database architect, that is what it does, what they do. So you can see a database that has thousands of tables and different relationships. We're gonna see that, but that is the job of a database architect. By the time you leave this class, you also have an idea on this, because you'll be able to develop a database, you gather information, and you develop a database. It might not be as complex as a database of Amazon, or database, a Facebook database or stuff like that, but yes, you have an idea. The next one is data warehouse DBA, right? So this is a newer one. I'm excited about this because my company is actually sending me for a training to do this, right? We are trying to implement a data warehouse. So what is a data warehouse in the first place? You have a company that has practically, my company, we deal with a utility. We supply internet, electricity, AC units to people around the Guadalupe area there. That is what we do. So now, right, we have various applications that data coming from various sources. Some customers have internet, some don't have. Some customers have fiber, some don't have. So we want to build a centralized database, which is called a data warehouse, where all of this information coming in can be dumped in the data warehouse. And from that data warehouse, we can build a reporting model so that each time we go into this data warehouse, we know it's a collection of every database that we have in our company, and we can bring out information. Might be the information can be for marketing purposes or for future forecast and stuff like that. So you have database administrators now. We call them the warehouse developers or warehouse DBAs, right? But the responsibility is just for merging data from multiple sources. So because our company, we don't have only SQL. Remember, we have SQL, we have Oracle, we have Postgres, we have MySQL, we have all of this. So a data warehouse guy will be able now to extract information from multiple database management systems and store them in one database called a data warehouse. Then from there, we can use that for information purposes. So these are the various responsibilities of a database administrator. I hope this clarifies those who are concerned about query writing and stuff like that. This is where we're gonna base more of our emphasis, right? More of our time is gonna be based here. All of these ones are gonna be basic projects that we're gonna do, and it's gonna help you. Perfect. Question? Any question?
Yeah, I needed to know. I came into a class a bit late. I saw this acronym RDMS. What does it mean? What does it stand for?
It's Relational Database Management System. It's a relational database management system. Why is it relational? Because I've said a database is a collection of related information, right? The example of the KiaWeTech database that we're going to be building, when you build a database, those information, the student table, the instructor, and the course table, they have to be related in such a way that if you go into that system and you want to see all the students that are taking this particular course, you'll be able to just write a query and it will relate all those information, right? That is a relational database management system, which is SQL. An example of a database management system that is not a relational, you look at Excel. You know, you can actually store your database, your data in Excel. You can open up those Excel files and all of those stuff, and you store your data there, right? But Excel is just like a flat file. You just put that information. It's not really a relational database management system, right? Even though you can go in and you type some queries, you can link Excel to VB, Visual Basic, and you deal with it as if it's a database, but that is a flat file, right? It's not a relational database management system. So that is the term. Question?
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. We're done with that. Okay. So this is where we're going to lay our emphasis right now, right? We have talked about where a DBA feed, administrative DBA, data warehouse. We've talked about a database architect. We have talked about a developer, right? Those are things that are out there. So now with you all in this class, and Brian, what do I do, right? What do I do? So the first thing, one of your responsibilities, I always break this down in five key areas. You need to understand this. By the end of this class, this is everything that we are teaching in this class boils down to one of these points. So take note of this. You can be interviewed based just on these 5 key points. So take note of those. The seed one, I'm going to come about that. I'm going to talk about that. But these are the 5 main responsibilities of a database administrator. First, right, is installation. Installation means you install SQL Server. Configuration, you configure it like what the port number, the network, all of those things, right? Upgrade, very important, because right, my company, when I joined, we were using SQL Server 2008. I had to upgrade everything to 2016. That is a project, right? And when you're upgrading SQL Server, at times you upgrade the operating system as well, because we're going to talk about upgrade. SQL Server upgrade, operating system upgrade. Operating system upgrade is just like your computer was Windows 10 Home. We recommended that your computer should be Windows 10 Pro. So what happened is you upgraded it to Windows 10 Pro, right? You upgraded it to Windows 10 Pro. We might have SQL Server 2008 running on Windows Server 2008. So we need to do an upgrade of both. So we upgrade our Windows Server 2008 to Windows Server 2016. Then we upgrade our SQL Server 2008 to SQL Server 2016. So a lot of the things that you're going to do as an administrative DBA is going to fall here. So we're going to start looking at installation of SQL Server today. We look at upgrading and stuff like that, right? Very interesting class. Okay, so your next responsibility is implement and maintain database security, right? Implement and maintain database security. Database security falls, the things that come here are like users. When you are creating, just like your home computer, if you have a computer, you have 5 kids at home. What happens is you create different accounts for each of these kids. When you come in here, log into your account. When you come in, log into your account, right? As a database administrator, you create users who need access to a database. You shall see all of this. Who needs access to this database, right? What level of permission do you need? So that goes under authentication and authorization. We shall look at that talk more on that when we are installing SQL Server. There are 2 modes of authentication in SQL, Windows and SQL authentication. We shall explain that to you. The next thing is, when you are creating this user, you maintain the users, right? You make sure the users, their accounts are not locked and stuff like that. You assign permissions. Then under security again, we need to see how we can do a TDE, which is like transparent data encryption, how you can encrypt your data so that if a hacker even comes into your environment, the hacker will not be able to get into that data because it has been encrypted, right? We're going to look at transparent data encryption. We're going to look at masking, data masking. We're going to look at, these are technologies we're going to practice in this class, just 2 hours and very easy, right? Look at always encrypted. So the next responsibility, now we're on the third. First is installation, configurations, and upgrade. Second is implementing and maintaining database security. The third is implementing disaster recovery. I've kind of talked to you about this. Disaster recovery is just like setting up log shipping, always on. What happens if my computer that is having this database is down today? Does it go with the database, or does it fail over to something, or does it replicate the information somewhere else? We're going to look at all of this probably in our next class, which I'll give you the theoretical part, then we'll do practicals towards the end of the project, the class. So the next thing is ensure high availability. High availability, now things like always on again. High availability and disaster recovery, they are used interchangeably, right? A high availability solution can also play the role of a disaster recovery solution. Like always on, we're gonna explain this to you all, right? You have 2 servers in different locations. And all of these 2 servers, the databases are here. The exact copy is over here. So these 2 locations, the 2 servers, they are interconnected. If this server is down, this one automatically takes over. If this one is down, this one automatically takes over, right? Those are always on solutions that we're gonna work with in this class. So the fourth responsibility is ensuring high availability and disaster recovery. And the other one is database tuning and performance, right? This one is also very important. Because these databases are there, you're the database administrator, you need to make sure they are performing well. And this is very simple. You have tools that are out there you use to monitor your database. We'll show you. You have tools that are out there that you use to tune your database, just like your phone. When you are playing a movie on your phone and it's running slow, what happens? You might be like, oh, let me turn off the phone and restart it, right? That is just like a tuning step that you're doing for your phone. And the last one, which is the seed, is take care of database design and implementation. This one is the responsibility of a database architect, right? But at times, as a database administrator, you're involved in these meetings when they are planning the development of a database for a company. They also need database administrators to advise best practices when you are developing this database. What should you be looking at, right? So these are the responsibilities of the database administrator. Take a screenshot of this, and we shall, any questions now? If not, we'll go to, we'll take a 10 minutes break, and then we'll come back. Any questions? Val, you might be muted. I see you trying to say something, but you're muted.
I have a question.
Sure.
On the fourth responsibility, the fourth responsibility where you have always turned on, like you have the option of either servers maybe powering. So what in case both servers break down, like would the data be lost, or that can never happen?
Okay, let me step in here. Like I said, right, this first class is just, you all need to have an understanding of all of these things, right? Know what you are getting into. So to answer your question, right, let me give, this is just a practical scenario. We're gonna look at this. My company here, we have 2 data centers, and the data center is just like, let me say this company, we have a data center here in, we have a data center in San Antonio, right? We have San Antonio, which is SA, and we have one in, let me just say one is in Houston, right? We have a data center in Houston. And because we want to have high availability and disaster recovery, what happens if this entire data center goes down, right? We should be sure that this one also, the one in Houston, should be able to host this, our databases. The database should come online there. So here, in this our data centers, we have servers. We have multiple servers and databases. And within these multiple servers, here we have also servers and databases. So right now, on this server, we have multiple databases, right? On this server, we have multiple databases. We have set up a high availability solution. Let me say log shipping. Let me just put in log shipping. we have always on, and all of those high availability solutions, what they do is, I'm just telling the system that, okay, this server, you have a replica over here. You have a replica over here. This server, you have a replica over here. This server, the two of you, you have replicas here, and you still have a replica over here. So the first scenario here is, if this server, if this guy is down, what happened is there's a backup here, right? And the database is still over here. Applications can connect to this one, users can connect to this one. The same thing here, if this guy is down, applications connect to this one, right? This one, if this guy is down, then applications can connect to this one. Then if this one goes down now, applications can connect to this one. So right now, what happens if this entire data center, in case of a natural disaster, goes down? Everything fails over here, right? So that is when we talk of high availability and disaster recovery. This is just a sketch of what we're going to be looking at. And we're going to set up all of this in class. It's just a technology that you said, okay, create these three computers to communicate with one another. If something happens here, fail over there. If something happens here, fail over there. Very easy. All right. Last question before we go on break. Okay, so let me just, a summary. We have given you the responsibility of a database administrator, who you're going to be working with, where you fit in the team, and what is expected of you, including the 5 main responsibilities that you're going to be taking care of, right? So we're going to take a 10 minutes break now. When we come back, I'm going to give you your daily task, what you do on a daily basis. And from there, we're going to go to the SQL installation, where I'm going to install SQL on my computer and explain most of these things to you. We'll give you material to study. Then in our Thursday class next week, we're going to go through a hands-on installation of SQL on your computer. Also, before we install the SQL, we're going to partition your drives to reflect an actual server in an enterprise. So let me stop recording from now. When I come back, remind me to start, because at all age like this, it's not a good thing. I forget a lot. I'm improving. So let me share my screen and we move on. So what we're going to be looking at next is going to be, how do you all prefer the breaks in this class? Just one break of 10 minutes, or how do you want it? Okay, everybody mute yourself. How do you all prefer the breaks? Like 10 minutes is okay, right? We just give it 10 minutes after like 1 hour or so. We give it 10 minutes, come back, and we complete the class, right? Is that okay?
After 1 hour, 30 minutes will be good.
Okay.
Maybe after 1 hour, 30 minutes, we have a 15-minute break.
After 1 hour, 30 minutes, you have a 15 minutes, come and finish it. Yeah, that's an option. Okay, keep your screen on always mute and just press the whole space. Yeah, so guys, practice muting yourself. So we're going to be looking now as, we've talked about these responsibilities, the 5 main areas of responsibilities. Everything that we're going to do in this class is going to be pointing to one of these, right? The first one, mostly we're going to concentrate here, installation, before we start going to the other one. Installation, we do security, creating users and stuff like that. So now let us look at database administrators, your daily task. What do you do, right? One of the things that you do all the time is you attend meetings, right? You attend meetings with other team members. These meetings could be meetings where you are trying to implement a new application, you are trying to build up a new system, you are trying to build up a new server. So you people always have this meeting. Most of the time you talk to a GBA, he will tell you, man, I had 3 meetings today. I was in a meeting, I was in a meeting, I was in a meeting. So these meetings could just be like your morning regular meetings where you just report, okay, this is what I'm going to be working on today. This is what I'm going to be working on tomorrow. Or it might be project specific. This meeting is related to this project. So you do a lot of meetings, right? That is to tell you a lot of communication. It's not as if you go every day, you're on your computer working on databases. Most of the database work, you do them after hours. When you go to the office, you just attend meetings and play around, drink coffee, right? Okay, the next thing is you review your emails on a daily basis. You review your emails and your ticketing system. So a ticketing system now is just like, we have a centralized system where if anybody needs anything, right, they create a ticket, I need access to this database, and they assign that to the DBA team. So you need to review those, and those tickets come in with priorities, right? Is it a high priority? Is it a low priority? Is it a medium priority or whatsoever? So you review these on a daily basis and you address those issues, right? So this is an interview question that you all need to start taking care of. What are your daily responsibilities as a database administrator, right? I attend meetings, and these meetings are project specific or meetings with my boss to discuss about a particular project I'm working on, meetings to implement a new system or something like that, right? This too busy coming from me? No. All right. So we have talked about that. You review your emails because most communication is by email. People will send you emails. Hey, Brian, I was trying to do this. It's not going. Some people will use a ticketing system, but some will just communicate with you directly by email. I need this done, depending on your internal policy, right? And all of these first two, this one is the same as answering users' requests. It now depends how does the request come in. Is the request coming in through your email or through a ticketing system, right? Depending on the policy. One of the projects I'm working on now is implementing a ticketing system in my environment because for the most part, we've just been working on emails. And it is hard to track email. When you have a chain of email that is very long, it's hard to go back to your emails and be checking out on stuff. So we are trying to implement a ticketing system. And I know some of you here have done a Scrum and you use Jira for the most part. So we are trying to implement Jira to be our ticketing system, right? So I might need help from some of you in this class already.
So does the ticketing system, is it like an ERP system, enterprise resource planning system, the ticketing system, where everybody sees a ticket and this is your responsibility, this is what you need to do? I mean,
exactly.
Person.
Exactly. So that is it. So the ticketing is just like you have the system, it has been based on your permission, because you can have a ticketing system that will say that, okay, if this ticket is assigned to this group, right? Let me just say DBA group. Only those in the DBA group will be able to view this ticket. So when it goes to the DBA group now, the team lead can go through the ticket and assign it to individuals. A ticket might be, if it is assigned to the system engineering team, it goes to the system engineering team. Only those in the system engineering team have access to that ticket. They review it, the team lead, and assign it to individuals. So yes, the general concept is just a centralized software where all requests from users come in. And when it gets into that software, they distribute them now to the various team members who need access or who have to resolve those particular issues. And you'll see all of those in this class. So in this class now, our main ticketing system will be what? First, our WhatsApp group. That is our ticketing system. And how do we use our WhatsApp group? If you are working on something and you have an error message, all you need to do is you go to the WhatsApp group, you send us a screenshot of that error message, and we say, hey, I was trying to install SQL and I'm having this error message. So now that it is an open ticket, anybody can reply to it. And then I can also go to it and I take that ticket. I'm like, okay, do this, right? If it does not work talking to you directly from the ticketing system, which is WhatsApp group, I can step aside now. I call you, right? For the most part, when we come in is because the ticket has been escalated and no team member, no student in class can help you. That is where we'll come in and say, okay, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. Call you at the background or schedule a one-on-one with you to get that issue resolved. So our main ticketing system now is WhatsApp, right? Just send a message, I'm having this issue and this is what has happened. The other ticketing system is if you want to communicate directly with us, you have the CarryTech email, send an email, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm getting, this is what I'm getting. But we advise that all your requests about this class or something like that should go to the WhatsApp group for all others to learn. And we're going to structure it. This is not how the WhatsApp group is going to be. We're going to structure it, split it into 2 classes. Then we have WhatsApp group policies that you all need to read and accept, right? This is a school, so our WhatsApp group is not going to be like some of the other groups that we belong out there. So review your monitoring tool. We are still talking about your daily responsibilities, right? Every system has a monitoring tool. Every system has a monitoring tool, and that monitoring tool is there to you have configured all your servers. The monitoring tool is like a centralized application that connects to all of these servers and pick out metrics, right? The monitoring tool, you see, that is why they say DBA's job is very easy, because if you have 20 servers and you have installed a monitoring tool in your environment that you can just sit and virtualize what is happening on these servers, right? You set up alert. If your disk is getting full, that monitoring tool send an alert to you, right? Or it opens a ticket, you just work on that ticket. If if there's any blocking in the database, the monitoring tool monitors that and send you an alert. So you just work on that. You have a monitoring tool, we'll set up a test monitoring tool in this class for you to use. And the monitoring tool, you set up alerts to be proactive. You can say that if any of these disks on my computer gets to 80% full, send me a message, right? And once you get that message now by email or by ticketing system, you go and you correct that before the disk gets full completely, right? So that is why we're gonna be using our monitoring tool. And you do that on a daily basis. You review the monitoring tool to see that everything is okay. At times when there is an issue in any of your databases, it will display on the monitoring tool like red, that okay, this database, there is this issue there, and you can go in and solve it. The next one is you work on projects, right? And these projects can either be the SQL installation project, migration projects, or upgrade projects that you're gonna be working on. So everything that you do at your job is gonna fall within these 5 areas as well. You attend meetings, you review your emails and your ticketing system, you answer users' requests, you review your monitoring tool, you work on projects. So as we go further in this program, you should be able to summarize this and tell an interviewer that, okay, this is what I do as a database administrator, because you will do all of this in class. All right, perfect. So questions before we go to the next thing? No, yes, no? All right. So we're gonna look at planning and installation of SQL. I'm just gonna run this through.
Sorry,
briefly.
I wanted to ask, do you know examples of some of the monitoring tools that we're still to get to that? Just the name.
Yeah, we'll tell you. We have a lot of them. We have Foglight monitoring tool. We have IDERA. We have Spotlight. There are a lot of them out there. We'll give you. My company, I use Foglight. I've tested Foglight as well. I've tested SolarWinds, but those are just monitoring tools. So for now, it's just a name. We're gonna get detailed when we get to monitoring.
Hello, Prof.
Yes.
I just want to add a quick question. You said when they send you a ticket and it says 1 on 8, maybe 1, 2, 3. So it's based on those numbers that will treat it as a priority.
Yeah, so a ticketing system will your company will have policies, right? They'll say that, okay, if this ticket is stopping someone from doing his job, this person cannot completely do his job. That is a priority 1 ticket, and you need to resolve that within 15 minutes, right? If this ticket is not stopping someone from doing his job completely, if the person can still do his job, but will just have some limitations, make it a medium priority, and you can take up to 4 hours to resolve that. If this is not a medium or not a measured issue, make it a normal priority, which you can take up to 24 hours to resolve that. So every ticketing system will have those priorities well defined. So when you join a company and a ticket comes in, you're gonna see it. When I am creating a ticket right now, just like you, our ticketing system is our WhatsApp group, right? If your computer is completely down, you cannot even log into SQL to do your assignment, nothing. You create a priority 1 ticket with us. You say, on your WhatsApp group, you just start, my computer is completely down, I cannot do anything, I cannot do my assignment, I cannot log into class. We look at that as a priority 1 ticket because it's stopping you, right? What would be an example of a medium priority? Okay, my computer is up, I was trying to create this database, right, in preparation for our next class. I was trying to create this database, but I was having this issue. That is not an urgent thing, so we can look at it and just based on the time, we can respond to you accordingly, right? So that is how it works also in the corporate world. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. So the next thing, we're gonna look at planning a SQL Server installation, right, and best practices. After this, I'm gonna send you a link or a book for you to read that. It talks about installing SQL best practices. Just read it. Then next class, we'll go through installation. Remember, we have to give you a software. We give you the the SQL Server Enterprise Edition in this class that will not expire. You can use that till this. And the reason we are not giving that now is because we are not very sure who is going to stay in this class. That thing is expensive, right? So we need to make sure you have registered, you are okay with your down payment, you have agreed that you're going to take this class, and then we'll move over from there. We'll send you all the material. So please go ahead and do that. Register, get your payment agreement form signed, and we'll move on from there. So SQL Server overview. We have already talked about this. I know Dr. Dennis talked to you about it, what is SQL Server, what it does. That is fine, right? One of your responsibilities is installation, configuration of SQL Server. So if you have a ticket that first, I need to install SQL Server, just generally, you can read more on the link that I'm going to send to you. You have a ticket that you need to install SQL Server. What are some of the things that you need to look at, right? You need to start looking at what edition of SQL Server am I going to install, right? Is it going to be an Express edition? If you read that, the book that we're going to send to you, see that Express edition has some limitations. You cannot schedule jobs to automate automate tasks in this Express edition, right? Standard edition is okay, but with standard edition, when you start looking at high availability solutions like always on, this standard edition is limited only to 2. Like you see, this is what I mentioned. If you have standard edition, you are limited to have just 2 nodes like this. If your company have 3 data centers, let me say you have another big data center here, and you also want to have 1 server here, so that if this guy fails, then it will come here. If this one fails, before it gets here, right? If you want to set up that kind of robust high availability solution, standard SQL Server standard will not be able to give you that capability. So you need to move now to a developer's edition. I mean, enterprise edition, where it's like the Oga quarter of them all, right? So this one have most of everything that you have in enterprise. There are other editions. You have the student, all of those things. Then this one, developer edition, is normally a free edition of SQL Server, mostly used to just development work, right? So when you have a ticket to install SQL, you're going to look at what version of SQL am I installing? So companies already have a standard. In my company, we either use, right now we're using just standard edition, right? I'm the only DBA there, and they have never had a DBA. So everything now is based on my recommendation. When I came in, we were using just standard editions. With standard edition, I cannot build up a good high availability solution for our mission critical databases, the ones that need to be up all the time. So at this point, am I recording? Yes. So at this point, what I did is I recommended that we get some licenses of SQL Server Enterprise. Also this goes with the price. This one is free, this one is less expensive, and this one is more expensive, right? With the standard, if you have 1 license of SQL Server Standard, it costs you close to $1,000 a year to pay for it. But with Enterprise, 1 license, depending on the number of cores that you have, it will cost you at least $12,000 to pay for it for 1 year. So those are some of the things that I look as a database administrator. Now your responsibility also is to look at cost. Will you be recommending an enterprise edition for a server that needs just 1 database that is not going to be in any high availability solution? No, right? You're not going to be making that kind of recommendation because you are actually killing the company, right? You're actually killing the company. So these are some of the things that you need to do, and you read this in the books. Well, most of these things that are in the book, you need to read it, ask questions, we'll answer them, right? This is going to be purely hands-on. You're going to do a lot of reading of the scene. So once you determine, okay, this is the version I'm going to install. This is the edition I'm going to install. Okay, what version? So most companies now, when I joined my company, this is where we are, right? And we migrated everything and upgraded to 2016. So this is where we are now. I still have about 3 SQL servers that are running 2008, but my goal is within the end of the year, everything should be 2016. So when you are having a project to install SQL Server, you need to know what edition and what version are you going to use. So what is going to drive your factor to determine which edition it is what your expectations for that system, right? What is going to draw your factor to this? It is what technology do you really want to use? Like I said, Microsoft have stopped supporting 2008. If you have issues here, they'll recommend that you upgrade to 2012 or 2000 right? So you also need to look at the general requirements, and you're gonna read this in the textbook. You're gonna look at the general requirements. What is your capacity, your RAM capacity, the operating system requirement. You wanna install it on a Windows or on a Linux operating system, right? You wanna look at what components. I'm gonna explain this when I'm doing the installation. What components of SQL Server do you wanna install? because it's just like you are installing, let me say, how do I put it? Okay, you're installing SQL Server. You know, it's a database management system. But you also want to use that for reporting. So there is a component, a reporting service component that you can add to your SQL Server installation. You want to use it for integration services. There is an integration service component that you want to add it to that installation, right? And the most important thing now, we're looking about the directories. They are best practice directories now, just like the drives where they're going to save what file. When we install SQL, I'm going to explain to you what is this file, what does it do, what does it do. We're going to get an overview of SQL Server architecture, right? And we'll talk on that. So, and then we're going to look at the instance now. What kind of instance are we installing? Do we want a name instance or a default instance? What will be the factor? All right, what will you use to determine this? Some companies want to go just with name instances, some want to go just with default instances. What is the difference between a name and a default instance? That's a refresher. Anybody?
A default instance is the first time we install an instance on our server, while the name instance is from the second right up to the 50th instance. We always assign a name to it. And for these name instances, the versions from 2005 and above only support name instances up to 50.
Okay, I'll take the part that you say you can install 15 name instances. That is correct. The first part where you said the default instance is always the first instance that you install, that is partially correct, right? That is not right. So with that, it means you need to have a default instance before you have a name instance on the server, which is not right, right? So the first installation of SQL, you can decide to run a name instance. If a company does not use default instance, all they use is name instances, then you can just install a name instance. That is okay. It's not as if you must install a default instance before you install a name instance. The main difference is this, right? With a default instance, it has a default name that cannot be changed. MS SQL, let me do this. So I'm gonna do this. So here we have a name instance, and here we have a default instance. A default instance, right? So the main difference here with a default instance, right? It comes with a name, and this is how the name of the instance is gonna be MS SQL. MS server, right? MSQL. Crap. Microsoft SQL, MS SQL Server. Barbara, are you there?
Yes, Brian, I'm there.
What's the default instance name again like that? Is it MS SQL? It's MS.
All right, sorry, I had some noise in the background. It's going to be like MSS, like MS SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server. That's the default name.
That is it. So don't save, grab. So let me put it this way: you have the default, and on the default we have MSQL, MSQL, SQL, right? So that's the default instance. That is for the default instance. And then the name instance now, based on your company naming standard, what they want it to be for the name instance. So it can have a name. I can tell that all our SQL servers, the instance then will be, it will start with X, Y, or let me say ZYX1, or it starts with the application name, which is, let me just say sales SQL SRVR. So every name instance now is going to pick up the application name. Let me say we have HR application, it's going to be HR SQL, right? SRVR. So it just depends on the naming convention. So with the default instance, regardless, once you run a default instance, this is the name. It does not change. But when you are running a name instance, you can decide what name you get based on the naming convention of your company. Most companies already have this in place, that if you want to install SQL Server, this should be the name. Another instance here is the communication. The port number for SQL Server default instance is 1433. So that is known everywhere. You cannot change it. But here, the port number, you can put it anything, right? You can put the port number to be anything based on what the system recommend for you. Another thing here, with a default instance, you have only one default instance. But here, you can have up to 50, right? You have 50 instances on the server, right? Then this one is just for standalone. We'll talk about standalone and cluster instances. When you start going now to building that high availability where you have 2 computers trying to work at one, you cannot install up to 50 instances. You're looking now at installing 21 instances for this thing, right? So these are the major differences. Now, looking at this, what will you prefer, a default or a name instance? Some of the disadvantages of a default instance, let me put it that way, is because security has a disadvantage as far as security is concerned. A hacker, knowing that you have a database, when they get into your company, when a hacker gets into your company and they know you have a database, the first thing that they try to capture is this port, because they know by default, if you have a default instance, it's going to listen to this port, right? So if you have this port and you have not secured the port, then hackers can easily get to it. They know the name as well. So by default, this is the name of the SQL Server instance that you have. So you have already given them a step getting closer to your database. Whereas if you have a name instance, a hacker gets into your company first, they need to hack to figure out what the name is. They need to hack to figure out what the port is before they even try getting into your database. So that is one of the major differences. When it comes to management, right, you see that a default instance is easy to manage a default instance as compared to managing a name instance, because once you are done with this installation, you know the port, you know everything, you know the name. With this one, you need to figure out what is going to be the instance name, what is going to be the port number, right? So those are some of the differences that you'll see, and they'll ask you, which one will you prefer over the other, right? So I will prefer, for me, my work to be easier, I will prefer a default instance because it makes my work easier, right? All right, so that is it. I just wanted to refresh you all on these 2 things. I hope that clarifies. Who attempted that answer like that?
I just to find out the default server. If when you have different databases in it, like you have the HR, the production crew, blah blah in it, how do you synchronize all of them so that once you hit into the database, you can access each of the individual? I mean, you can streamline to, maybe you're looking for a HR database in the default server. I mean, would they be named like that? Is it further broken down, the default server?
Okay, so this is how it works, right? The first thing here, the cycle that you see out there is our operating system, right? This is Windows Server 2016. This is OS 2016, right? Let us go now with this one is a named instance that we're installing. So now we have installed a named instance of SQL called SQL. I mean, I'm just gonna call it XYZ1. And here I've also installed a name instance called XYZ2, right? So these are our 2 instances. All of them are on this computer, so they have different names. If I want to give access to Ernesto, right, to any of the instances, I know Ernesto, you need access, but to the XYZ1. So I'm going to map Ernesto access to XYZ1. And if, let me say, Romeo need access to these databases that are here, I'm going to map them here. So now this is just the instance that you have installed. It's just the instance that you have installed. That's the instance name. On this instance name, now let me say we have databases. I'm going to call this database KTech DB. On that same instance, we have what we call, let me just say we have a sales DB and sales DB sales database. And here we have HRDB, right? So Romeo now, or me, Ernesto, who is having access to XYZ instance, even though they are all on the same server, but he can only have access to this instance. Now, this guy, Romeo, who is having access to this server has its own databases. Let me say we have an application called Azure. We have an Azure application that has a database installed on that. The database is on that XYZ2. There we also have an application that we use to manage our companies, vehicles, or something like that. We can call it a car DB, right? We can call any other thing there. Any other database that we have, this is how you split them up. When you have named instances, you can install multiple instances and just break down your databases like this. Whereas in this scenario, if it was just a default instance, just one default instance, what will happen is we'll have just this one, and on this one default instance, we have this, our DB, this default instance, which the name here is gonna be, what I just gave you there. This name is gonna be the MS SQL server, right? Then we'll have all of these databases now. So in here on this, our default instance, we're gonna have KTech DB. The default instance, we're also gonna have sales DB. The default instance, we're gonna have HR DB. The default instance, we're gonna have Azure DB. We're gonna have CAD DB whatsoever. So this is it. This is a default instance that you have installed. Now you have all of these databases.
Is there a maximum breakdown? Like we're having KTech, sales, HR, Zure, and so on. Is there any maximum that you can get to?
You mean the maximum number of databases that you can have per instance?
No, in the default, within the default.
So this, remember, these are databases, right?
Yes.
So you're asking that, is there a maximum number of databases that you can have per instance? Because this is the default instance, right?
Yeah. Like, is there a maximum number of databases you can have in the default instance?
Okay, I'll not go with I'll take the question this way. Is there a number of maximum databases you can have per instance? It doesn't matter if it is a default instance or it is a named instance. All of them are instances. The only difference there is that this one has this name and it has this port, right? So going down to the maximum number of databases, there is no maximum number of databases. What drives that factor is the resources that you have on your computer. Because let me take, for instance, this our computer that is hosting this instance of SQL Server is just, the RAM is 5 GB or 16 GB, and the hard drive is just 50 GB. And let me say these databases, a total of all of these databases is 40 or 50 GB. Do you think you'll be able to add additional databases on this server?
No.
You will not be able to. So the amount of databases that you need to have on a server is driven by the resources on that server, right? It's driven by the resources on that server. Same thing here. If this server was just, let me just take for instance, your computer that we have recommended that you buy should be 16 GB of memory, right? Because with SQL, you can install up to 50 instances. Can you install 50 instances on your computer? Because of the capacity of your computer, yes, you can install 50, right? But is it gonna let you? It's gonna be extremely slow. You might, by the time you get to even the 5th instance, it will tell you that this space, the requirement does not meet, right? So it depends now on the resources of that computer. Does that answer your question?
Brian, can I?
Yes, Maxime, your line is kind of shaking or something like that.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, I was going to say that in addition to that, which is your reason is primarily correct. In addition to that, I don't know if this will help him too, but it also depends on the company in terms of deciding what are the departments in that company that can create a database. So some companies might not have like a sales database if they're not doing sales. Some company will have, like I've worked with an educational company, and they will have more like academic data where they will have to design that. So based on the company, if you have an academic placement data, you have grade books for students, those will be separate databases. But the answer that Brian says, in terms of the number or how much resources do you have to accommodate the number of databases, is absolutely very correct. But if you're looking at it in terms of the differences in the departments, then it will vary from company to company depending on what company you're working with. If that makes sense.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Adrian. I do perfectly understand what you're saying, and thank you also, Brian. It leads me to my other question. Installing your SQL server, are you installing you have like two memories now. You have two storage. You have your RAM, which is your 16 gigabyte RAM, your memory, and you also have your SSD and the hard drive. Where does the SQL server load?
Where does it go? That's a good question, right? When we start looking at performance stuff, you'll look at it. Okay, because SQL Server, when you are installing it, what happens? Let me just pull up my computer here, right? When I'm installing SQL Server, first, look at my operating system drive. Let me work with the drive, right? When it goes now to the storage, there's the storage part, and there is that performance part. So when it comes to the storage, my C drive here is just 40 gigabyte free, right? Each installation of SQL, the minimum requirement, let us say, is 2 gigabyte to host the system, the installation files that you install on your computer, right? So this one, regarding the space, that SQL installation is going to reside here. When you install SQL and you create databases, right? Those databases have size. The size of a database can be 20 terabyte. The size of a database can be 1 terabyte. The size of a database can be 15 terabyte or 1 megabyte or something like that. They also occupy space, right? So the storage now, the databases are going to be resided on the storage. That is where the storage comes in. So now, going back to my computer, on my computer, I have resources. We're going to be looking at this later on, right? On my computer, I can go here and I'll see that I have, when I go to performance, I have my, you see, this is my CPU and this is my memory. I have 16 gigabyte, right? So now this is what is being used. And how is this memory being consumed? It's being consumed because if I go here, you see that, look at, my Zoom meeting is consuming 169, right? My anti-malware service is consuming these applications. So SQL Server itself, even though it has these databases that are occupying that storage, it also uses memory in order to function, right? And you will see here that based on the amount of memory that you see here when we finish installing SQL, how much memory SQL is using out of that my 16 gigabyte of memory that I have. So it's a two-way thing. There is storage and there is memory. It's just like in your car. Your car is a 2020 car. It has 60, or let me say 3 sets of seats, right? What happens is that car can take up to 9 people. At the same time, when you are looking at the speed of the car, how fast can that car run? What determines how fast that car can run, right? So I don't know if this answers your question a little bit, but if not, when we start installing SQL, you understand most of these things.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I think I have an idea. I still need to learn more, but I have an idea what you're saying.
Go ahead. You have an idea now?
Yes, of what you're saying.
Yeah, but you get it better. Let's just keep going. These are good questions for you to understand this. When we start installing, once this is already understood, that is fine. So another factor you have seen here with the default instance, this is what you have. With a name instance, you can have multiple. So here you can also have one default instance and other name instances, right? As well as you can decide to have just 2 name instances. In this case, I can go here and decide to add another name instance. So what will determine me? The reason why I'll have multiple name instances here is because I might have an application that said I want my application databases to be on its instance by itself. I don't want it to mix it with other databases. I'll say, okay, I'm gonna have an instance here with you. That is just for you. I create another instance and this is just for me, this other instance. So that is how you group them down, but we'll explain more. Okay, I think we have 1 hour to do the lab. This is just general explanation, right? About the name and the default instance. You can build your documentation. One of the ways I advise trainees to take down or to participate in this class is have a notebook next to you, right? It might be difficult for me to be talking and you writing at the same time, but just the key points. Once you jot down these key points, just like name versus default instance, and you look at that key point that you have written down, you will recall everything that I have said, right? Or you can go back now and do research on those key points. So please take down notes. You should have an exercise book next to you that you are taking down your notes. At the end of each class, make a summary of what you have learned, jot down those things and do your own personal research. So let's go detailing now into the practical part. All right. The first thing we're going to do in this class, I'll tell you, when you are installing SQL Server, right? One of the best things, SQL Server has data files and it has log files. We'll explain all of this as we move on. So you need to store them in separate locations on your computer. So if you look at my computer right now, looking at my computer, I have just one data drive. So I'm going to partition this drive to reflect an actual environment. Every computer that you have, every server that you have out there will have multiple drives. You have a drive here to save to host your SQL backups. You have for your SQL data. You have for your SQL logs, and we'll explain this as we are moving to when you're doing the project, right? So now this is a hands-on lab. I want us to partition our drives, right? I want us all in this class to partition our drive. So we're going to create 3 partitions. One is going to be called SQL data. So we're going to partition our drive in this format, right? We're going to call SQL data. We're going to have one called SQL logs. We're going to have one called SQL backups. We're going to have one called SQL PEP. These are the 4 drives that we need, right? You can have them to be 15 gigabyte each. And I'm going to show you how we can do that. So this is a hands-on lab. I'm going to do this with you. Any questions? No? All right. Perfect. So follow with me. I'm going to show you my screen. You have already seen I have just 2. So to partition your drive, again, this is not your responsibility, but it's good for you to know. When you are requesting a server to install SQL, in your request, you need to include there that I need this server to have this number of drives, right? So we're just going to do this here. So this is an actual installation project. I want to install SQL on my computer, right? I want to install SQL on my computer. So what we'll do now is partitioning our drive to reflect an actual server that you have in an environment. To do that, if I just go to my search right here and I type in disk management, or I just put in computer management. Just type in computer management, that will come up. So computer management, I know this is where you can manage users in your computer. You can schedule tasks in your computer. If you want that something should happen at this particular time, your computer should turn off at this particular time, you can schedule a task to do that. I'm just going to give you just an overview here, right? Here you can also look at events, what is happening. You use this a lot as a monitoring tool. Under events, I can look, if I want to check when was the last time my computer was shut down or whatsoever, I can come here under Windows, I go under system, it's going to tell me everything. This is just your computer management. You can see everything here. Use this to manage your computer like a monitoring tool as well. But our concern here is under disk management. When you go on computer management, you can also manage your disk, right? You can manage your disk. So if you look at my computer, let me know, is everybody here?
Yes.
Oh, the question is, who is, if you are not here?
Yes, sir. Can you maximize your page?
Sure, like that?
Yeah, that looks good.
All right, so you just go to your search, you type in computer management. Right now, you will see my computer. I have a data drive, right? This is my data drive. And here, I also have this one, which is just like the health drive on my computer. I have my OS. This is Windows. This is where Windows is installed. And this is just a recovery drive. So now, on my data drive, some of you will have just one drive. Who has just one drive? Share your screen, let me see. Somebody should share your screen if you have just one drive.
I'm having one drive.
Share your screen, let me see. Perfect. So now you're having one drive, and your drive is 9, so you have enough space, right? It's 900 and something gig. So what I will advise you is let's partition, let's just do 15-15. You can always increase it, right? You can always increase the drive. But in this class, let us create 4 partitions where we'll save our data, our log, our backup files. Or we can do, depending on your computer, you can do 30-30, right? Let's do 30-30, where you can save your data.
Please, how can I share my my computer so you see what I'm having?
On Zoom, right? On the bottom of your screen where you have participants, you have chart, you have share screen. There's a green thing that has an arrow.
Hold on.
Do you see it?
It said.
You need to stop sharing.
Somebody should stop sharing.
You.
Me? I'm not sharing. So let me share now. Let me show you my screen. Look at this. So this is what we are looking at. Do you see this anywhere?
Just hold on. I'm not there yet. I'm trying to.
Do you have 2 screens or just one?
2.
Okay, look at my screen. I want you to look at my screen. Let me show you this before you look at what you are doing.
Okay.
Do you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Do you see this option here?
Share screen.
Share screen.
Yeah.
Okay, look at it.
Share screen. Share screen.
Yes,
Yeah,
look at
this
that.
is stop. Yeah.
And that applies to everybody.
Can you see it now?
You are not sharing yet. Okay, it's coming. Yeah, I see your screen.
Is it on now?
I see your screen. So what? Go to your, where we are, we said go to your search.
I go to search and I click on computer management, right?
Type in computer management. There, it's already up there. So just click it. Yes, that is where we are. So let me see what we have here. Okay, thanks. Physical instances, not Windows. Which one? Name instance, instance. All right, I'm seeing this. Can you explain more about the name instance? For example, you said you can install 15 instances. Do you mean SQL Server or Windows Server? Okay, I'll explain that as we move forward. So somebody is asking a question. When I say SQL Server instances, right? The installing 50 instances is just the instance of SQL Server. It is not your Windows Server because you already have one Windows computer that has already been installed with Windows Server 2016. I want to install 50 instances of SQL Server in it. So that is it. Is it possible to delete a disk after partitioning many disks? Yes, it is possible to delete your disks after you have partitioned, but you just need to go. You know that you will lose that data that is in any of those disks. So let's go practically now. I'm gonna share.
So what do I do?
Okay.
You can see my screen.
Hold on. You are in a good. That is where we are, and we are still about to start. Right? We are still about to start. So just follow up with what I'm saying. Watch the screen and follow up what I'm saying. So do you see my screen, everybody?
Yes.
This is where we all are. So you need to click on disk management. This is where you manage your disk in your computer. So when you click on disk management, you're gonna see every disk that you have. Look for the one. If you have just one, it's just gonna be your C drive, your Windows drive, which will have this. So let's just go through this. If you have issues, we can look at that after, but let's get this first part taken care of. So I have this disk here. I see here the data disk. I see it is 931 gigabyte, right? I see it there. If I want to partition this disk, all I need to do is I right click here. The one that I want to partition, make sure you're partitioning the right one. If you have just one, yes, that is fine. But the one that with so many space, that is what we are partitioning. So I right click there, I go to the string volume, it's gonna calculate everything for me, right? So I'm looking at 30 gigabyte. So 30 gigabyte will be, this is in megabytes, it's gonna be 30,000, right? Are we here?
So,
excuse doctor, I was thinking 30
30 gig, you're gonna be multiplying it by 1,200?
Approximately, yeah. So it's gonna be approximately 30,000 or so.
Oh, okay, okay.
I just put 30,000 there. So when you do that, you click on string.
So are we doing this? Are we following you to do this or?
Exactly. I said you have to partition your drive. Let us do this practical lab to partition the drive to.
Question is those that have only those that only have one single. Okay, go ahead.
And that is what I said. If you have one single drive, right? Look at, just forget about the other drive. I have one single drive here. That's the drive. I want to partition it to have 4 other drives. And I've given you the drives that I want you to have in the screen. This is what I want you to have. SQL data, SQL logs, SQL backups, and SQL term. And all of them should be 30 gigabyte.
Brian, I have 931 gigabyte. I have 2 disks, disk 0 and disk 1, then the CD-ROM.
So CD-ROM is out of place. So you are not looking at that. The one that has the highest number of gigabytes, which one is it?
Is disk 0, 931.
Okay. So it's the same thing with me here. Look at my screen. So we're on the same page. This is my disk 0, right?
Okay.
This is my disk 0. So you right click on your disk 0, you go to string volume.
Extend volume, okay.
Not extend.
Shrink.
Yes.
Shrink volume.
Correct.
Uh-huh.
So you go there and you put there 30,000. Okay, somebody said I have 460 days that already partitioned. Okay, if you have already partitioned your disks, your goal in this class is to have 4 disks that I have demonstrated here. So you can part the 40 that you have already partitioned, you can still break it down and have a data disk, you have a log disk, you have a backup, and you have a term. And all of these should be at least 30 gigabyte.
Where do I put the 30,000? When I on the shrink disk D, I can see total size before shrink.
Share your screen.
Just a minute. Getting there. Okay.
Okay, and do you have 2 screens? Do you have 2 computer screens?
Yes, I have 2 screens.
Okay. So you follow me on one screen, then your other screen should be practical. Okay. When I'm doing it on one screen, follow it on the other screen. So it tells you enter, read what it has there. What does line 3 say?
Line 3 says enter the amount of space to shrink in MB.
Okay, so where do you enter? I want it to be, just say 30 gig. Normally you should multiply that by 1024, but that is fine. I'm not doing that math here. I don't want like the exact 30 gig. That is okay. So I want you to go ahead and in there put in 30,000.
30,000.
Are you putting it?
I put it already.
Do you all see it or?
Oh, okay, don't worry. I'm on something else. No,
I can't see it.
Just hold on. Hold on. Okay. So 30,000, right? I done it already.
Okay, continue. Click on shrink.
Click on shrink.
Okay, so you are on the same page with me now. Stop sharing your screen. Let me share my screen. Just follow up with me, okay? Don't get missing. Follow up with me. Have your stuff on one screen and the other stuff on the other screen. So now that you have done this, you see here the space that you have partitioned is unallocated. You need to make this an actual disk now, right? Everybody, we have this. So yeah, this class, like I said, this first 2 weeks is just for us to go through it and see what is happening. So from this one now, if you right click here, you make it a new simple volume. Are we all on the same page? So I'm gonna make this a new simple volume, right? And from the new simple volume, that wizard, I click on next. I leave that 29 there. If I wanted to break this one by 60 and I do it, divide it twice, that is fine. But since this is what I want it to be, I click on next. Then it tells me assign the following drive letters, right? I want to leave it the default there, which is E, right? So let's say our data drive is E, right? Keep everything there default. I go to next. Then the label here, the name, I want this to be SQL data, right? So this is SQL data. Perform a quick format. It's already highlighted. I click on next and I click on finish. So it's formatting that disk now. And you see it has opened it. If I go back to my PC, you see I have a E drive called SQL data and the space there is 29 point something gigabyte. Perfect. So that is the first thing. I'm going to do it a second time and give you all 5 minutes to partition your disk, right? Or 10 minutes.
Mine is not gone.
Brian, do you want us to do all of them?
Yes. So you need to partition. I want you to have this. This is what I want you to have. I want you to have 4 disks like this.
Put all 30,000, right?
Yeah, just put the 30,000 there.
Okay.
What I can say is assign the following drive letter. It's F that I can see here. I should leave it like that.
Yes, you can leave it to F. The drive letters for now will not really matter.
So I just click on next, right?
Yes.
Excuse me, Brian.
Yes.
File system NFT.
When I right click on mine, nothing is happening. No reaction.
Okay, share your screen. If you right click on it, nothing is happening. Share your screen. Let me see.
The file system is NMTFS.
Keep everything to be default. All you need to do there is you have changed the drive letter. Click on next, and then you just give the name SQL data. When you get to the place where it says a volume label, just put SQL data and click on finish. Do not check any box. Everything there is by default. If you are clicking on your screen, it's not doing anything. Share your screen. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. So you have Muna D. So right click on not that one, Muna. It's gonna be the Muna D. You see the D drive? Click that. Okay, come on the bottom of your screen. Come down where you have. Do you see Windows C on the bottom? Not there. Where you're in the right place. You see Windows C. Go to the one to your right. Muna D. Muna and then D. That drive to your right. That is your left. Yeah, that one. Right click there. It tells you that is DLocker encrypted. So yeah, so it's taking out the string volume. So put it at 30,000 there. You have entered the amount of disk space, 30,000. Click on string. All right. Perfect. So now it is unallocated. You need to make it now an actual disk, right? So right click on the allocated disk and select a new, right click and select new simple volume. Just right click. Right click. Are you clicking in there? Can you hear us, Muna? Muna, can you hear us? You are muted. Can you unmute yourself and let's walk together. Can you hear us? Just indicate. Can you?
Excuse me, sir. What's the name of the last? You made mention of SQL data, SQL log, SQL backups, and what's the last?
Is it a volume label?
No, this is what I said you all should do. If you have a phone, take a picture of this. Take a picture of this. This is how your drive should be. SQL data, SQL log, SQL backups, and SQL temp.
Okay.
Oh, you're very fast. I can't even see the picture. Secret data.
Do you all see my screen or no? Mona is sharing. So it's SQL data,
SQL data,
logs,
SQL logs, LOGS, right?
Yes. And then you have SQL backups, which is SQL and the word backups. And then the last one is CQL temp, TEMP.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and you should change the names on volume label. That's where you change it, right? You change the volume label.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Mona, can you hear us?
Yes.
Right click there. Right click where your mouse is. I don't think something is wrong, Mona. I don't know what is happening.
That's why I don't know what is actually going on.
So
hold on, Mona. Hold on. So click there. Go click where you have that 29.30. Click there. Click there again. Let me see. Right click now. Okay, select new volume. That is the option there. Select new volume. Click on next. So the 30,000 is there. Click on next. Leave it to E. Click on next. And then on the new volume, you change that one to SQL data. Delete that and write in SQL data. Just delete where you have new volume. Type in SQL.
Okay, thank you.
Data, D-A-T-A. D-A-T-A. D-A-T-A.
Yeah.
No, Mona. SQL. You are missing an L there. So it's SQL data. Perfect. So click on next now. Click on finish. You see you have a drive now. If you click on this PC to your left, click on this PC to your left. Okay, you see that you have SQL data, right? You see the drive you have created. So I want you to do the same thing for your SQL log.
Can I say something, sir?
Brian, I have a problem.
Yes. Hold on.
I have an issue.
Yep.
So I did that successfully. However, I was gonna do the second one, and then the second one wouldn't allow me to do it. If you want, I can share my screen with you.
Share your screen, let me. Yeah, share your screen. Let me see. So hold on, let me have Mona. So what you need to do now is right click again on the D Mona. Right click on that Mona drive. Go to string volume. Put in the 30,000 up there. Click on next. And then right click on the unallocated. Go to new volume. Next. 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 Call it a SQL log. Delete that and type in SQL logs. Finish. Perfect. So do the same thing to have, you can stop sharing now. So you can do the same thing to have your SQL backups and your SQL temp. All right, who had an issue? Share your screen, let's see.
Can you see my screen now?
Oh yeah, I see.
So I did this successfully. Can you hear me?
Yes.
And then I did this. However, when I go here and I create this, and I said this is SQL logs. then it gives me this error message.
Because the disk already contain a maximum number of partitions. Click on OK. Click on OK. Your line is breaking. We can't hear you.
No, so I had to go back to.
We cannot hear you. Hold on. Click on OK on that message. Okay, so
I did.
Your line, just so you understand, your line is breaking. At times you click, but it will not reflect here that you have clicked, right? If I say click on OK, it means I'm still seeing the OK. Might be it is just because of network issues, and also your line is breaking. You know, when you are talking, at times we're not hearing you. Or was I the only one?
Yeah, I think my line is breaking. That's fine.
All right. So yeah, let's take a look at this first. I don't know why this one is in green. Just right click on that SQL data again. Right click there. Go to
delete.
Yeah, delete it. Okay. So right click on the C. Right click back on your C drive. You didn't have any partitions earlier, right? This was just
I didn't have. I only did these two.
So which one did you have earlier?
I didn't have these two. I only had this system reserve, which I understand it, and then I had the C.
Okay, perfect. Yes.
Yes, he is trying to assign to create a partition on an unallocated partition. This is the partition he created. So
as you can see right up here.
It's okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to reclaim back this partition. Right click there. Right click on the C, not on that one. Right click on the C. Right, do extend. Go to next. Just go to next. Finish. All right. So now right click back on that the one with the 29 gig, the green one, not that. Right click there and delete. Okay, and then right click now on the C and extend it back. Let it be back to where it was. Extend. Next. Next. Okay. So this is where you were, right?
Right.
So right click now. Right click. Go to shrink volume. So I want you to put in let me just calculate blah 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 blah.
Can I just take like 300,000 so that I have a D drive, because I didn't have a D drive.
So I want you to put in just allocate 60, 60, 60, 60, 30, 60. So put in 120,000. So we just have one and we'll start splitting up that one. Click on string. 120,000, that is fine.
I think it's small.
30 gig plus 30 gig, that is 60, right? It's okay. 60 times 2 is 120,000.
When we start visualization, when we start doing visualization, do I need to shrink it back again?
Virtualization is something different. We're not gonna do it. We're gonna do it on Hyper-V. So it's gonna be logical. Okay. So this one will be okay. So click on finish. Let me see.
Brian.
Yes.
Right here.
One moment. So right click on that one and try to partition it. Let's see. Right click.
117.
Right click there. Yes. Right click there.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah. Go to new. Go to next. Put in the 30,000 there. Click on next. Okay. Click on this. SQL data. Now finish. Why is it doing that?
Why? It did. It worked.
Not necessarily.
The reason why it's doing that is because you remember when we first shrinked it out of the 120, it took like 3 gigabyte or 3 something.
No, it's okay, but it's showing you that that is a logical drive. It's not looking at it as a physical drive.
That's why I say it was originally just one physical drive, which was a C. So probably I needed to partition the physical drive to another physical drive called drive D before shrinking.
It's the same thing that you have done, right? Because you have the one you partitioned was the data drive. So that is it there. Normally, when you do this, it's not going to come up.
But the data drive is logical, though. It's not physical.
That is what I'm saying. That it's not supposed to be logical, because if you see any other person who have done that, it is not giving them a logical drive. Who else is having this issue?
Yes, I have a problem too, sir.
I have an issue as well.
Same issue.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody is having this same issue.
Yeah.
The level of backup.
Okay, is this Milton sharing?
No, it's Elvis.
Okay, this is Elvis sharing.
Yeah.
All right, I know some of these system admin guys in this class.
Yeah, this is me sharing, Brian.
Oh, this is Elvis.
Okay, so at this point, Elvis, this your here, right? The unallocated, you can only claim space that is to your right. You can only claim space that is to your right. So what I want you to do, right click there, claim that one. Right click, go to new volume, go to next. No, go back. No, go back. Cancel that. You already have the partition there. Right click there. Go to new volume. Go to next. That is it. Go to next. It sees what is there. Go to next. Put in the name there. What name did you want to give it?
Temp.
Yes, put a SQL temp. Go to next. Finish. Okay, so you have your SQL data, your SQL log, your SQL backup, your SQL temp. So this 50 here, I want you to reclaim it back, but that's use space. The one that you have 58.9959. So right click on the one to the left. You can only right click on the one to the left, the OS. No, the OS, right click there, and then you go to extend. Go to next, finish. All right, so open up your this PC. Let me just confirm that everything is there. Open up your computer. File Explorer. Open up File Explorer. Close out of this. You don't need this anymore. Open up File Explorer on your computer. So click on this PC. Maximize that so we can see. That is minimizing. Maximize. Click on the square in the square. Click on the square in between the negative and the multiplication sign. Yeah. So you see that you have yes, you have your SQL data, your SQL log, your SQL backup, and your SQL temp. So you are good, right? So when we're installing SQL now, we're just gonna tell SQL do this, do this. Okay, who else is having an issue?
Can I share my screen, please?
Yes, share your screen. Princess Zion.
Yes, sir. I'm sharing right now. So this is what I did.
I just like the name Zion.
So this is what I did. I kind of stopped.
Okay. So right click on the 58.98 gigabyte. Let me see if it's gonna let you. Go to new volume. Go to next. Type in 30,000 in there. Go to next. Go to next. Type in SQL data on the new volume. Change it to SQL data. And you can always rename this after you finish partitioning the disk, right? So like I said, this is not your job, right? In a company, when you request, it's one word, SQL data. When you request a computer to have SQL, you tell them that I need 4 drives on this computer. They go ahead and they mount those drives for you. Click on next. Finish. Okay, so that's your SQL data. So do the same.
This is the first one that I did.
Yeah, but you have not, that is unallocated. So you need to now give it a drive later and make it an actual drive. So right click on it. I don't know, Elvis that was sharing earlier, you see all of this is black, yours is coming out as logical. I need to take a look at that. So just bear with me, let me get these people up and running. I'll get back to your screen. So click on a new simple volume.
Simple.
Do the same thing, next. Next, you give the name SQL logs. Next, SQL logs. Okay, so we have two now. So go back and click on the Windows C drive and right click on the Windows C, the C one. No, right there. Yeah, right click there and extend it again with 30. You need two more. So 30,000. And then allocate a new volume for it. Next. So it's gonna be now SQL backups, right?
Yes, sir.
So we are just doing this because we want that when we are installing SQL, it should be how you do it in an actual environment. You could just go and follow the normal thing, just click, and stuff like that. So now go ahead and partition the SQL theme as well. Right click there, string volume. $30,000 and put a 6. So now that you have it, you can stop for some other person to share. Who else is having issues?
Yes. Can I share now?
Yes.
Princess, stop sharing.
Already there.
All right.
Actually, my husband has been on the line now for the past 1 hour, trying to get our
Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. Is this Jervis sharing again, the one we had the issues with?
No, I was the one that had issues, Brian, not Jervis.
Oh, okay.
It was
I'll
the
get back
camera.
to you. All right. So on this C drive, do the same thing. Right click there on your C drive because that's what I see. Who is sharing? Yeah. So right click there. You are me. Who is this? Is this Jervis? Jervis, we cannot hear you. Okay. Can another person share? Maybe we can't hear him. Who else is having issue? Go ahead and share.
Davis on mute.
Are you ready to finish with me now?
No, let me get yours. We're gonna really look at it. Just give me one moment. We'll take care of yours. Let me get all these other ones with little issues. Okay, cancel out of this. So you have your SQL data. I mean, you have SQL backup, SQL data, and SQL. Yes. So what are you looking at doing? You need now, but so this one, you see your SQL backup. You had 100 gig, and that is too much. So right click there and partition that. So put 30. Okay. So new, so you're looking now at SQL theme, right? Next. Finish. All right, so you have your SQL data, SQL log, but this SQL backup, your SQL backup to me is still too big, and you are leaving your OS just with 79 gig. So I want you to string that again, or you can just delete it, right? Just delete that, cancel out of this, delete that and redo it. Right click and just delete volume. Delete volume, yeah. Okay, so now extend, no. So yeah, you can go to your Windows, go back to your Windows, right click and reclaim back all of that space. Extend, next, finish. Okay, so now partition it to be 30. And that's gonna be a SQL backup. Or make it a 20, just so you still have enough space. Just make it 20, yeah, 20,000. Perfect. Then you should be good. Who else is having an issue apart from not the same issue that Milton was having? Any general issue? So right click.
So, Brian, when you're extending the partition, you're actually reclaiming the space back?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything right now.
All right. So, okay, who else is having issues with partitioning the drive? If you don't have 4 drives partitioned already. Anybody? Apart from Milton?
I don't.
You
But
have any issues?
Yeah, mine is actually just due to the space because I have not yet gotten the right computer. So I tried it with 300 and I was able to follow the procedures. So I know the procedures and I'll just wait to get my computer to
Share your
apply.
screen. Share your screen. Let me see. You should be able to. You can do 15 gig. Share your screen. Click on this piece. So you have data, you have logs, and what you're missing is backup. Bring up your computer management. Is that me sharing or you? Share your screen. Let's see. Who was having issues?
Hello?
You are not.
Can I share my screen now, Brian?
Yes, Jervis, share your screen.
Okay.
Hello?
Jervis, your background is noisy, and that is why I keep muting you, right? Because you cannot share your screen and you're having a noisy background. I have muted you. If you want to say something, you can unmute yourself. Share your screen and unmute yourself.
Can I talk?
Yes.
I was saying that mine was due to the capacity of my computer. I didn't have the right capacity, the right computer. So I was wondering if I could do a lesser space, like not up to 30, not up to 30,000.
Are you the one sharing like this?
Yes.
Hold on. Who is
I don't have the account number, so I just entered the.
I'm the one sharing.
I'm not
Jervis,
the one
I
sharing.
will not attend to you now because your background is noisy, right?
No, it's okay.
Should I proceed and share my screen?
No, hold on. Let me see. This is so Jervis, you're the one sharing now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what is the issue that you're having?
Because when I click on disk 0, is inactive, and so I don't know which one to actually partition.
You are partitioning the C drive. You see the Windows C.
Okay.
So right click on Windows C. Please, do you have 2 screens or just one?
I have 2.
Okay, so try to follow up what we are doing on one screen and then try to practice on the second one. So right click on Windows C drive. That's Windows C. I see there the one that has 952.64.
Yes.
So right click on it.
Okay.
I don't see you right-clicking. I don't know if something is missing somewhere. Hold on your computer, around the center of your computer, do you see C Windows? That's
Yes,
Windows.
I see Windows C.
Yes,
Yes,
bring your
right-click
mouse
there.
down there, right click there.
Right-click there. Okay, Jervis, let me take it back this way. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
But this is.
I don't think the screen actually being shared is not my screen.
Jervis, who is sharing? Who is it sharing? This is Jervis sharing. He's the one sharing.
Jervis is the one sharing.
Jervis, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. Can you see on your screen where you have those blue things, the one to the right that says Windows C 952.64 gigabyte NTFS BitLocker encrypted?
Yes.
Can you right click there?
Yeah.
Right click. When I say right click, it means the right part of your mouse. Right click there.
Actually, I'm seeing that on my own computer screen, but I don't know why that part is not sharing.
Then you can pull it over. So, okay, what you have done is stop sharing. When you are sharing your screen, you need to, when you go to share, there's an option there that says screen, and there's an option there that does not share screen. You need to click on share screen. You will see screen. Stop sharing and share again.
Okay.
And then your background is still noisy. You will not be very comfortable helping you with a noisy background. So just stop, take care of your background, and you share your screen towards the end of the class, Javis.
Okay, sir. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, another person, so somebody else will share. Let me do
I saw
this.
some people, looks like some worries were sent to the group chat. One was Eric. I don't know if that has been resolved.
This is fine. Those letters, this. Eric, what was the issue?
At the level of backup, the third drive, mine won't go.
Share your screen, let us see.
All right. I'm trying to do that.
And when you're sharing, make sure that you just select the screen. Okay, this is the same thing that the other person was having. This is the same thing.
Yeah,
So,
these other two, they are activated, but the third one won't let me do it.
okay, so go do the, you need to delete this one. Try to see if you can delete that F lock.
This one?
No, the F lock, the one with the green. It shouldn't come out that way. Go to the properties first. Let me see what it says. Right click there, go to the properties of the F lock. Just delete partition. Delete the partition. Okay. So unallocated. So let us try to partition that drive again. Right click there. First go to the properties. Let me see what it says. So go to the volume. Tells you that as this, basic, this. Okay, cancel it. Click on cancel. So right click on it and try to partition it again. Put in like the 30,000. Click on next. Okay, so
This was
SQL. You can put SQL theme if you are doubting, or logs. Yeah, that's fine. Click on next. I want to see, yeah, finish. Close out of it. Okay, so right click there. Right click on the one to the left.
Which of them?
The one to the left, the SQL logs.
This one?
Yes. Okay, let me see. just do the string volume again.
On this one?
Yes. Put in just put in 15,000. I just want to see something. I don't know why it is coming out as a logical click on string. Okay, so right click now on the 44 gig, the one with the 44 gig. Go to new volume. Next. Just go to next. Select the mount this following, click on the second option. The second, you have assign, click there, click on the, yeah, click there, let me see what happens. Mount in the following empty disk. No, just click on the first option, assign the following drive later. Click on next. Just click on next, we can rename it after. Finish. Okay, close out of this. So go now to your, open up this PC. Let me see. Open up your computer. Just bring up File Explorer.
Sorry.
Yeah, just open up File Explorer. Okay, click on this PC. So you have SQL logs. So right click on this one and rename it. Right click there. Rename it to SQL backups. Okay, that is fine. So go back to, you click on here, continue. All right, that is okay. So you need SQL term now. Go back to, right click on that SQL backup, let me see. Right click on the SQL backup. Go to string volume. Put in, just put in 15,000. Put in 15,000 there. String. Okay, so right click on the 14 gig now. I see what it's trying to do. Do new volume. Next. Next. Next.
Hi there, I'm Cortana,
Okay.
and I'm here to help. A little sign in here, a touch of Wi-Fi there, and we'll have your PC ready for all events.
All right. So go to your drive now. Click on it. Don't close it. That's fine. Just open up File Explorer and confirm that you have that. So now, whoever was having the same issue, we can take a look at it. So click on this PC.
Is it me now or different some other person?
Yeah, share your screen. Let's take a look at it.
Okay.
I don't know why it is doing that. So what we'll do today is just to make sure that it's good. We have done a lot today. We'll send some notes to read on SQL best practice installation.
Let me know if you see.
Not yet. Eric is still sharing.
Eric needs to disconnect.
Yeah, just go ahead and share. When you share, it's gonna kick it up.
I already shared.
All right. So maximize that. Maximize it. Let's see.
Okay. Right here. So
All
I
right.
had to extend it back. So that's how originally my drive was looking like.
Okay, that's fine. So right
Because
click on it.
I only have, hold on a second, let me show you this. Sorry.
No, that's fine. You get.
Oh, this thing is not coming. So I have this. You see what I have?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So I take it away and that's what I remain with.
Okay. So right click on the C.
Exactly what I did.
Go to string. Go there. Put in 60,000 there.
Why are we putting 60,000?
Let's just do it. You're gonna, because our goal is to have 30,000. I just want to try something. You can change it.
All right, that's fine.
So that was 60,000. So right click in there. Go to the new
on the
volume.
C or on the unallocated?
Unallocated.
Mm-hmm.
Next. So put in 30,000. SQL data. Next. Okay, so where did it go to? Okay, so that is fine. So right click on the, when it is done.
It's done.
Okay. I still see it loading. I still see your mouse kind of circling. So
Oh, okay. Maybe it's still loading then.
but
But
just
it
go now.
keeps saying logical drive.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't know why it's doing that, but just right click on the one with the free space. New, yeah, new. Call it SQL log. Next. Okay, so that is formatting. So you have SQL data and SQL logs at the same time, all of them are 30. Okay, so right click on your C drive again and do another 30. Right click there and shrink it to 30. So we'll not be able to install SQL today, but your computer is prepared. Everything is
I
prepared.
thought it's gonna be.
Put 30.
Are you okay?
Yeah, that's fine. You can do the 60 and you divide it into 2. Next.
Ryan, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So you're trying to allocate 30, you're creating
you
30, sorry?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I said you're creating 30 spaces. So everybody doesn't have enough space to create 30 gigs. So are we gonna use like the whole 30 gigs, or some people can go ahead and create 4 partitions to like 15 gigs? Because
So
I know
I was telling you, we said you should create we
Can
said
you hear me?
Hold on.
Are you talking to
I
me?
see your problem now, Milton. So one moment. So we said I'm giving you 30 because based on the computer recommendations that we gave you, you should have at least 500 gig. But if you have below those recommendations, you can create 15, right? At times you can be, if you have too much backups, you can delete and add them, delete and add them. So it's just up to you.
Absolutely.
All right, click on OK again, Milton. All right, so what it's doing now is telling you that it cannot extend to the right? So what we need to do is to delete these drives. We're gonna delete all of these drives, delete the data, yeah, delete it. I see what is happening now. Delete the other one. Okay, so now just on your C drive, reclaim that space, go to your C drive, extend, reclaim everything. The first few classes, guys, is always this way, right? So delete that one as well. Reclaim it. Okay, so now we're just gonna do this once and we partition what we get. So go ahead and partition that to 120, yeah, 120 gig. Or you can do even if you wanna do it 20, you can do 20, 40, 80,000, right? You can 20 will still go since you have 50 gig. So do 20, 80,000.
200 or 160, and then partition it and reclaim the rest. Just to be comfortable.
80,000.
80,000.
Yes, type in 80,000 there.
Can I just do 100,000?
Yeah, you can. That's fine.
Reclaim the rest.
Yeah, you can do 100,000 and reclaim the rest.
Huh?
Just do this, Milton. I want to just do, 100,000 will be fine. Then we'll partition at 100,000, right? So right click there, new partition. Next, 30,000.
Oh, you said we're going.
You can do 20,000.
Right.
You need 4 drives, so you can do 25,000 or 20,000. All is fine. Anyone is fine.
Okay, I'll do 20.
Yeah, so do SQL data. Next. So now right click, right click on the free space. You do another 20, which will be SQL log. One moment. Hello? You should be good. That unallocated, Milton, that free space, I don't know if it's gonna let you do anything, but that is fine. Just go to this PC, just leave that one hanging there. You can figure out how to merge that one or get rid of it later on, right? So, okay, I see, Milton, are you there?
Yeah, I can take care of that one.
Yes, so at least you have the drive.
Yeah, I'm here. I get you.
Okay, so who else is having issues? So I'm gonna stop recording for now because that's basically, this is all we're gonna do for this class. I'm gonna send out a video. You all subscribe in our YouTube channel, watch the video, reach out if you have questions. I'm gonna send some material in the chat for you all to go through. Before next class is just gonna be hands-on. And please, if you have not filled in the registration, fill out the registration form, fill out that payment agreement because you're gonna be building those class registers. And again, you have seen how this class is going. The difference between this class and the junior class is with the junior class, we understand that these are people who have not done any of these things as far as computer is concerned. And we go with them very slow, right? But in this class, we assume that, okay, you have some level of IT knowledge. That is why you see us, we'll try to go a little bit faster. So if you feel like this space is too much for you or you are not really aware of some of these things, then it's good you take the junior class. Right, but you all, I've seen like 80–90% of you all are doing good. It's okay, we can stay together. But if you feel at one point like you are not able to be meeting up or catching up, get the junior class. We're gonna teach the same thing. It's just that it's gonna be going a little bit slow, right? And you just want to be in a class where you're on the same speed with everybody, because in a class like this, when some people feel like, man, this is something that I've already done and passed it, and another person is just coming from behind, the people that are on the top, they feel like they are being drawn back, and the people at the bottom, they feel like we have been pushing them so far. So just figure out where you want to be. This is the first week that is over. You still have 1 week, at least Monday class or Tuesday class, to make this final decision. All right, I'm gonna stop.
Brio.
Yes,
sir. Please, can you resend that link again to register, please? Just for. Remember, just do it again so we can see it again, please.
Okay, but anybody, if you have already registered and you want to make a change, send a message to me directly. I will just go in there and I'll update it, right? I'll just change this thing. That is fine. But I'll still send the link so you can review it. All right.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, let me take care of if you're having issues with this partitioning, share your screen while you're working on that. I can answer other questions. Stop, who is this sharing? Stop sharing, please.
Please, I wanted requesting that this video should be sent to us directly. Not you know, with your YouTube channel, we can arrange them. And again, it requires that we must be in an area where there's internet before we study.
Okay, that is a fair point. We're gonna do that. Like I said, the first 2 weeks is difficult to know who we are sending a video to. We don't know who is gonna take this video and go somewhere, who is gonna take the video and stay in class. You know, that is one of the things that we try to play within the first 2 weeks, because at the end of it, when we get your class registers, we're gonna build an email group. Every video now we send it to those emails, and we know that these are students of Kiawe Tech. You know, so for now, just try to watch the videos the best that you can, and stuff like that. Okay, let me see who is sharing. I see you had your log. Sharon, you partition your log to be 50, which was not, we wanted that to be 30. I don't know how big your computer is, but it is still
Can you hear me?
I'm helping someone.
Oh.
Someone, and you want to say something? It will be better.
So can you hear me?
Who is it sharing?
Richie.
Okay. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, all right. For some reasons, I am having a hard time to shrink my space. So I don't know what's going on. I don't understand.
I'm seeing your screen right now. Is it just stuck here?
Yeah, for almost like 5-10 minutes now. Just still the same.
Okay, on the bottom of your screen, just right click and go to your task manager, or you can go to search and type in task manager. So it appears the computer itself is frozen, right? This might be an issue. Again, one of the things that you can experience, the computer will be frozen, databases will not be working, they'll need to call you for you to see what is happening. I see that the computer is frozen at that point and nothing is happening. So go to your task manager.
Okay, yep.
Open up task manager. Lawrence raised her hand. Let me see what, yeah, you share your screen after this, Lawrence. I don't know how to pronounce your name correctly. Let's say that again.
Leons.
Leons, okay. I disclaimer, I told you all in the beginning of the class, don't attack my accent, please.
Okay.
Thanks for your understanding. Just kidding. All right. So did you go to your task manager?
Yes.
So you see like your computer is really running, you see. It's under memory pressure. I don't know, what is the capacity of your computer? How many gigs?
I'm not so sure actually. I just got this like yesterday evening, so I'm not too sure.
But we recommended 16 gigabyte of memory. Is that what you got? Oh.
I can't really answer that question right now.
Click on more options on the bottom left. Click on more details.
More details.
Yeah.
All right.
Please don't forget to share the recommended material on installation. Yes, I will do that. Hello, can I share my screen? Yes, you will. This your computer is. So as of now, the class is officially over. No new thing is going to be done. I'm going to send out the material to you all. Class is officially over. So if you want to go, I just want to be here now to help the few who cannot get their disk partition. Okay, you see here your CPU is marked at 100. I want you to go ahead and you have a lot of these things open. So click on any of these Microsoft Management Console and stop them. Click there. You have thousands of them. Okay? So click the way how you see Microsoft Management Console, right? Do you see Microsoft Management Console? On the name, when you look at the name tag to the left, click there, and on the bottom, when you click on any of those, on the click there. End task. On the bottom right now, you click on end task.
Okay. Task. Okay. End task. Right.
Do the same. Go to that Dan McAfee. Go up there and Dan McAfee. That thing is really, I don't know why it is doing that, but what is consuming all these resources? Click on Firefox as well and end it. But this computer, you see, it is constantly, the CPU is at 100, so there's no way it's going to perform. I doubt if you have the recommended this thing that what we requested. While it's doing that, click on performance.
Performance.
On the top left, where you have processes, you have performance. Yeah, click there. And then click on a memory. The second tab is memory. The second option on the bottom is memory. Okay, you cannot even do anything. You cannot do anything. So at this point, we'll not even be able to help you because your computer is 4 GB. We are requiring 16 gig. So the minimum that you can even have to take part in the first part of this class is 8, right? So this 4 is not even gonna help you. This is what is gonna happen to you throughout. 4 GB is too small to do anything in this class, right? So we recommend that you get this computer, you can take it back, order additional RAM, but just this 4, it will be difficult for you to get 16 GB RAM to update that to 18, right?
Okay.
So you all can leave the class now. The class is over. Just share, if you have issues and you want me to take care of with you, just go ahead and share your screen. I'll look at that with you. But we cannot help you now because your computer does not meet those requirements. You need to do some work.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yes, Richie.
Sir.
Mine, you're still recording the class. Is it okay?
Yeah, stop recording because we are already done that. We're not going to do anything new. So, Leons, go ahead and share your screen.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Not yet. Probably it might be still coming.
Share. Yep.
It should be coming now. Okay. So you have a partition template, you have all of this. So, and you have just 100 GB?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. This is not my computer I'm gonna work with. I'm still waiting for the right one. But my question was, although it is just 117, why am I not able to go beyond 8,400?
Right, try it again, let's see. Right click there, go to string volume.
See, I was wondering why the available space is so limited. Is it like my entire memory is full or what?
Let me see. Total size before shrinkage is this. Size of available disk space in megabyte, just 1,000 disks. Total disk after shrinkage is this. Okay, click on cancel because it's probably looking at these two things here to your right. Right click on this partition template. Let me see.
I just delete now so I can still delete it.
I want you to delete it. Okay, the Windows RE tool, go there and let me see. That one, right click there. Let me see what options you have there.
Oops.
So that one cannot, are you right clicking?
Yes, sir.
It can move. Okay, delete this one. Just go back to your C Windows and extend that. Okay, try to partition it again. Let me see. Okay, go to, why is it doing that? Yeah, so there are something I'll need to look into. I don't know why it is picking just that, right? But it's good. It's not a computer you're going to be using. This can be a troubleshooting step for you, right? But
Okay.
I'll not have time to look at this now. If I do some research, I should be able to see why it is doing that. But let's not dwell on that. If that was a computer you're going to use in class, we'll do everything to get it up to date. This is not a priority one ticket, right?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you look at our total capacity, right?
Mm-hmm.
is 118, and then the space available for her drive is 55. So don't you think that would also be like...
Bring up your C drive, let me see. Just bring up this PC. I want to see, first of all, if there's enough
This
space
is
there.
up here.
File
Free
Explorer.
space.
Bring File Explorer, let me see. Because if you don't have enough space on that computer as well, File Explorer. Just open up any folder on your computer. Click on. Just open up anything.
It's so difficult just to open up anything. I don't know.
On the bottom of your computer, yeah, that's File Explorer. Click on this PC to your left.
Yep.
Yeah. So you have just the free space is just 54 gigabytes. Yeah, I don't think your system is gonna let you really partition something reasonably out of that. So like I said, let's not dwell on that. Just
actually, I wasn't insisting because it wasn't the computer I was going to use, but I was hoping at least the machine will allow me to be able to take up even 30,000 once, since it was up to 50, or I don't know, maybe it's asking too much.
No, it's okay. It should allow you. We just need to figure. I don't know if it's too much for you to.
Brian, it's not supposed to accept it.
Why?
Because when you try to get a drive, you're trying to partition a drive, the drive actually tells you how much space you can get from it, especially when you're doing it in Windows. If you're doing it during installation, you can do it. But if you're doing it in Windows, there's always a spare capacity that it has to keep. So if you're already down, if she had like maybe 80 gig free, yeah, she could get 30 gig from there.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I guess right now it's just 1,400 that it's able to give me out of 59,000. Okay.
Okay, it's actually telling you how much it can give you, right?
Yeah, that's the maximum is. It was actually so low compared to 30. I was like wondering if it's normal. Okay, I guess
the computer actually tells you when you're in Windows. The Windows tell you how much capacity you can get. That
this
it
is
can
my
give
maximum for now. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
But if you try to install the computer where you have the drive, you can partition the drive out there. That's where you can actually get whatever drive you want, whatever capacity you want. It will let you.
Okay. Anyway, that was more of an additional knowledge because I wasn't understanding why I was behaving like that. Thank you very much.
All right.
I guess.
Okay, so I want to say, apart from every other person was able to partition their drives and everything, right? So we should be good. Any other questions? If not, the class, let me just leave you all, go through, just try to digest, make a summary of what we have talked about today. We have talked a lot. Next week, it's not going to be too much talking. I hope you all understand what is expected of you, what you're going to be doing, and you'll be paying attention now, knowing exactly what you're going to be doing, right?
I have another question, please.
Sure.
Actually, as I said, I'll get a second laptop, which means I'll have two laptops. But I think doctor was talking about something like with like two laptops when go, it was better to have a second screen.
Yeah, so what will happen is you need to have you can have just your laptop and the monitor, and then you buy a cable, HDMI cable, connect it to the other laptop and your monitor, because you don't really need two laptops. You don't need two laptops, right? You want to be able to, when you're logged in with one laptop, you want to be able to be seeing what I'm doing on one screen and you are performing something on the other screen. The other screen should not necessarily be a laptop, because you're going to be confusing you first. When you have two laptops, you get to the issue of managing the sound, the echoing and all of that stuff. So you don't really need that. You just need a monitor. You can get a monitor on Best Buy, Pawn Shop, any of these things for $20, $25. And you need just a cable to connect it with it. And so when you get your monitor, when you get your new laptop, watch this video, partition your disk, and next, so that by Thursday, you are good to go with the installation. Okay?
Okay.
Perfect. All right. You all have a good weekend. You have my
Thank you.
number. If you need me, just call me. For the most part, I'm very sociable. So
Okay.
You
yeah.
said you
Thank
wanted
you,
to
Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Enjoy your
You
weekend.
wanted to go over with for today's lesson. It's okay.
That what?
You said you had to go over with what we did today. So I don't know.
No, the video is already started, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
All
Thank
right,
you
guys.
very much.
Bye.
Bye bye.